Here.
Mr. Grow is out of town on business at a conference. Mr. Melvin? Here. Mr. Bourgeois? Mr. Bourgeois? Mr. Perilou? Here. Mr. Oten?
Here.
Mr. Lafont? Here. Mr. Lorraine? Here. Mr. Cantrell? Mr. Cantrell?
Thank you. Mr. Melvin will do the invocation, and Mr. Oten will lead us in the pledge.
Say the Lord's Prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the minutes. A, Ms. Carleen, do we have any of these?
Ms.
or do we need to-
Esposito, excuse me 1 second, if I could just make one announcement. I just want to congratulate all the children that graduated from high school this week, and good luck in their future before we get started.
Okay, thank you.
And college.
Can I get someone to defer the minutes?
I'll
Moved by
move.
Councilman Oten, second by Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? LaFont, did you have something?
No.
Any opposed?
And we are deferring.
Deferring.
To the next meeting or two meetings?
What do you need?
Two meetings, which would be June 26th.
6/26/18. B, presentations and/or updates. Ms. Melissa Williams, Training Coordinator with the Haven, to present an overview of the Haven services available to the citizens of Lafourche Parish. Ms. Williams? Hi.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Melissa Williams. I'm the training coordinator for the Haven.
Ms.
And
Williams, can you give your address for the record?
Sure. It's 150 Copperfield Court in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Again, my name is Melissa, and I'm with the Haven. And we're very happy to be here tonight to just talk a little bit about what our services are in Lafourche Parish. We are a domestic violence and sexual assault agency, and we provide important counseling services, a temporary shelter for victims of domestic violence, and we also provide medical advocacy for anyone who is reporting to a nearby hospital, especially if they've been recently sexually assaulted. We can provide crisis intervention services to them and also advocacy service to those individuals. Along with our emergency shelter that we provide for domestic violence victims, we also have within that component various counselors and advocates working with those victims and their children so that they can come back into the society and feel safe and also learn different safety skills. We really want the community to know about these different services and about what we can provide for them. So if anyone have any questions about what our services are in reference to our counseling or our shelter or our medical advocacy program, they can call our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-915-0045, or they can call 1-800-777-8868 to receive those services or to inquire more about those services. And we just really appreciate you having us here just to talk a little bit about our services. We have a wide range of other things that we do for the community, like different educational components, different educational programs that we provide both in school and outside of school settings for professionals, for children, or for the general community. But if anyone wants to know more about those things, they can contact us at that hotline number.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Any
Any
council
questions?
members? Miss, no? Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, I was able to
Hi.
attend that class that you put on in South Lafourche, and it was very interesting.
Yes,
I
thank
wish
you.
more people would attend, but even though it's 4 or 5 or 100 or whatever, at least, y'all did very well.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
I asked you to come here so you can maybe get the word out a little more.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Thank
How
you,
often
ma'am.
do you have a training? How often is there a training?
We have different trainings throughout the month, but we usually have our monthly lunch and learn training, which is usually the last Friday in the month. And the one that Mr. Lorraine is speaking of, our Councilman Lorraine is speaking of, is our community informational sessions. So we had that in the month of April to celebrate Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So that was a special educational event, but we do have monthly events given throughout different parishes, both in Terrebonne, Lafourche, and Assumption Parish.
And y'all get the word out through email or?
We do
website?
email, sometimes you can see it on our Facebook page or through our website.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Just 1 minute. Let the record show Councilman Bourgeois stepped in at 5:04 PM. Over the years, I've donated to the Haven. I know that's a secret location.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm glad you have these numbers out. I can't express how important I believe an organization such as yours is.
Thank you.
You save lives, you change lives, and, years ago, there wasn't such an organization for, like, my mother, who would have needed it. So I appreciate all that you all do for the community.
Well, thank
Keep it
you.
up.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Anyone else? C, legal advisory report. None. D, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Any public, Ms. Carleen?
Ms. Charlene Rodriguez, if you'd come to the podium, I have a proclamation I'd like to read from the governor. United States of America, State of Louisiana, John Bell Edwards Governor Proclamation. Whereas the state of Louisiana includes countless older Americans who enrich and strengthen our communities, and whereas the state of Louisiana is committed to engaging and supporting older adults, their families, and caregivers, and whereas we acknowledge the importance of taking part in activities that promote the physical, mental, and emotional well-being for everyone, regardless of age, and whereas lives of individuals of every age can be enriched by promoting home and community-based services that support independent living involving older adults in community planning, events, and other activities, and by providing opportunities for older adults to work, volunteer, learn, lead, and mentor. Now, therefore, I, John Bell Edwards, Governor of the State of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim May 2018 as Older Americans Month in the state of Louisiana. Signed by John Bell Edwards, Governor of Louisiana. I wonder if y'all had this read this because I'm so old. Did y'all?
Thank you, Carleen.
Is that the new term, Charlene? Older Americans? When did that start? It's called Older Americans. Okay.
May of every year. And this year, we celebrated Older
Just give
Americans
your
Month.
name and
I'm
address
sorry.
for the record.
Charlene Rodriguez, Post Office Box 500, Raceland, Louisiana. This year, we've celebrated Older Americans Month with a crawfish ball for my seniors. And if you have not all heard, if somebody called and their name couldn't be put on the list, it's because we were overwhelmed. We had over 300 people RSVP within a matter of time that the word went out. Some people said, well, my name's down, but my caregiver's name's not down, or my friend's name's not down. And I'm like, listen, we did the best we could. We took everybody's name and phone number. We had 198 people attend. The place was full, it was packed, we couldn't take anybody else, and if the whole 300 would have showed up that said they were coming, we'd have never had room for them. So just want to let y'all know, we're looking for a bigger place next year. Hopefully more people can attend. We ask that they attend our senior center, use our transportation services or our services in order to come. The more people we get, we have to put a limit and a stop somewhere. If they're using our services, they're part of our council on aging, they could use transportation. We had 5 vans bringing people there, plus a lot of people drove themselves. So it was a real great turnout, and we'd like to see more people, but again, we're getting bigger and bigger as the term goes, and it really gets, hard to be able to get everybody there. So we might do a fishing rodeo or something, something that everybody could appreciate. And, I mean, they do love the crawfish, don't get me wrong, but it gets bigger and bigger each year, so I don't know how much bigger we could get. But anyway, on that note, I
And
just
how
want to...
many years you've been doing that?
We've been doing it for at least, I want to say 9 or 10 years, but this is the second year of the crawfish.
Oh.
So crawfish does get them out there. And you want to see them go places and do things and not just stay home all the time. I want to show y'all my quilt too that my seniors have done, and y'all could pass it around if you like.
You may just want to walk across the front, Charlene.
Tell them what it's made of, Shirley. They want to.
I'd gone to my cousin's house one day, and she told me she goes to St. Hilary, and they do quilting with the plastic bags from Rouse's. And I told him, I said, I'd like for my seniors to learn how to do that. And she told me they come the second Tuesday of every month at St. Hilary Church. So I got my center managers and center aides involved, and they showed our senior citizens how to do it. And what they do is they crochet it, just like you do normal crocheting, except it's with plastic bags. It takes 700 bags to make a quilt, and what they do is they donate it to the homeless and the homeless veterans also. So, and they're trying to keep them in our area, so we don't just sit at the centers and play bingo. We try to do different arts and crafts. So anytime I get a chance to find out what arts and crafts people are doing in different areas, I try to get them involved. And this was a really good help. I think this is the second quilt we've donated so far, well, the blanket we've donated so far, and they're very interested. Some of them cut the bags, some of them tie the bags, and some of them crochet. Some of them do it all. So, if you don't know how to crochet, like I'm not talented and all of that stuff, I'll help them cut the bags. Somebody that don't know how to cut straight, well, I have to use a ruler, and I still can't cut straight. But anyway, you do whatever you can, and everybody participates. So it really makes it worth its while. And that way they give back to the community.
Well, I appreciate our seniors. They never stop. That sounds like a
No.
good Facebook Live video to see our seniors.
Do that.
Yes.
Yes, because I'm not talented to do that. I'm not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. Dennis Lasayer, if you come to the podium, Mr. Lasayer, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Dennis Lasair, 104 Bayou Onion Lane,
Is that,
Thibodeau.
okay.
All right. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Tommy for sending out this email saying that we at least got a schedule for bids for the resurfacing of the project. Next thing was, after I talked to a few of the neighbors, the question is, which I forgot, because I know we talked about it, how long does it take for the bidding process? And then selecting a contract and then actually doing the work. So I didn't know if anybody knew that.
Tommy, do you have a ballpark?
From the time, what bid date did I say on that email?
June 1st.
June 1st. Probably, construction would probably be around 90 days, construction,
From June 1st.
yeah.
Okay,
Bid opening, signing bids, notice to proceed and all that.
right, okay. Because quite a few are still asking the question, okay, I got driveways I want to redo, and in fact, my neighbor wants to do his, and I told him better hang off.
Oh, yeah, definitely hang off.
So, but that was the only question, and glad to see it's finally moving ahead, so appreciate everything, everybody's been doing, so,
Yeah, government moves at a glacial speed, so
right.
thank you for continuing to come and remind us.
I'll be here next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. David Bro, if you'd approach the podium, sir. State your name and address for the record, Mr. Bro. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
I'm David Bro, 149 Willow D Street, La Rose. I was here just to see if anybody's got an update on the La Rose boat launch, when they might start, or is any progress being taken to, because I went right out there today and I still don't see nothing move. It seems like there's a bit of work that needs to be done there, and
Mr.
I was
Lasane?
just wondering if anybody knew, if anybody's in touch with Jimmy, that would,
It's not
Jimmy-
the Delta Farms one. Are you talking about the Delta
yeah, the
Farms?
one in Delta Farm.
Jimmy signed a notice to proceed for the engineer to design and lay out and stuff like that, so that should be going pretty soon. He should, I can't imagine there's any major design there, just, we'll probably do all the work in-house, the limestone and stuff like that.
Do
so-
you know where it's at? I mean, have y'all turned it in to be done, or?
Yeah, that's what I said, with notice proceeds issued.
Yeah. Don't have a date when maybe we could expect something.
Whenever he wants to start, he can start. I mean, Jimmy communicates with, President Cantrell communicates with, Stevie Smith with All South Engineers has that job.
Well, I'd ask that, I don't know if anybody feels like helping, but if maybe one day next week, maybe all of y'all can make a call to Mr. Jimmy and just say, hey, how do the road boat launches going? You know, they got a lot of people waiting. You know, I went right around the rows, and probably every 10 houses you go to, there's 4 or 5 people that own boats. Everybody there is waiting, you know. And I just think it'd be a good thing for the people if we could, you know, if y'all could get it going soon.
It should be open now.
Huh?
It should be open now. They were getting signs made, it should be open. You sure it's not open?
It's not.
Oh,
And Tommy, that's, Ms. Posito, if I could speak, please?
Lafont?
If you fine, David, if I could speak? Tommy, about 2 months ago, if you remember, we asked Mr. Jimmy about it, and he said he was waiting to do the improvements. And I said, well, just open it up till, and he said he was. But nothing has been done. They still got the gate locked, they still got the barricades where the launch goes into the bayou. Look, it's, I know we want to make it better. It's in good enough shape right now, because the previous owners never did any work to it before anyway. Never had any lights, none of that. I think we got a couple people here, we got a commercial fisherman here, we got a couple commercial fishermen here, that they can't afford to go pay the $1,000 that it costs a commercial fisherman. And it's already a burden because they have to make the whole round. But if we can open it at least,
Well,
and let them start, I think would be great.
My understanding was it was open, and when I talked with Jimmy, and I'll check today when he gets here for sure, and they were waiting on some signs, but I don't see why waiting on signs matters, you know, park at your own risk, no lighting, you know, stuff like that. But to get it open, like Mr. Lafont had requested, that was, I thought, done.
yeah, no, it's not open.
And unless there's a safety concern, I would say we'll probably get it open tomorrow.
I mean, they got a fence that's gotta be moved apparently to park, because it's about halfway on the property. You know, that's probably gotta be moved out to make parking area, because you're gonna have a lot of people parking there. I mean, people have been waiting a long time for this launch, and like I say, you go right up and down the bay and count the boats in everybody's yard, and everybody's got a boat ready to go, you know, it's summertime. It's time to, plus the, you know, at least try to move in the right direction and just try to help us get it open. If every one of you would like to help, I'd appreciate the help in any kind of way. Just a call to Mr. Jimmy. You know,
Mr. Cantrell's gonna be in probably about a half hour, an hour or so, and Mr. Lafont can address that in questions for administration at the end of the meeting.
Okay,
You know,
thank you very much.
Yep.
I do appreciate it. Oh.
Councilman O'Tan?
Yeah, I pressed my light on early on because I want to say, I mean, we have been taking action. Last year, we purchased a property, I think it was $350,000. We, either the last meeting or meeting before, we hired, this council approved All South Engineering, Stevie Smith, to go out there, evaluate the parking.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure everything's done right. So, I mean, to say it's going to be tomorrow at the end of the year, I don't know, but it's coming.
Right,
And I think we've invested a lot of time, a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of our, so anyway, I'm hopeful it'll get open soon also, but I just want you to understand that
Right.
things are happening. We
Right,
went from a
right.
private launch and government intervened, and it's gonna be a public boat launch.
Right.
And nobody has been out there to evaluate it from an engineering standpoint, but it is, the ball has been slowly moving.
Right,
Now, it
okay.
hasn't been dead still, I guess
Yeah,
what
we
I'm
just
saying.
wanna kinda keep up and I mean, I really don't like being here, but I gotta come and see.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Just to keep the ball sorta rolling, you know, that we're
Yeah.
rolling in the right direction. And I know things take time, you know, but I mean,
From my perspective, from the intercoastal, I mean, it looks like there's some work needs to be done there. I know I hear everybody says no, but from the intercoastal, when I'm passing in my boat, it looks like it needs work. But that's why we got Stevie Smith's gonna be out there and check this thing out. And
Yeah.
Like I said, this council just approved that, either a meeting or two ago.
right.
Yep.
Okay, well, we just like to let you know that the public appreciates it, and as soon as you could get it going, as soon as we could see some progress, the doors over there, been cleaning up, something. It kind of a little bit encouraging, because I've been going ride and I don't see nothing. And I said, well, okay, today's my deadline. I'll go ride and see if I don't see nothing, well, I guess I'm going to the meeting, But thank you anyway, I do
Just a minute.
appreciate.
Councilman Melvin?
Yes, sir, I just emailed everybody in the council, including DPW and Mr. Jimmy, just to make sure, because I have relatives and friends on there that want to launch too, and I get the calls, so.
Right.
Councilman
Thank you very
LaFont?
much. I do appreciate your time.
I just want to thank y'all for coming out, and I don't know if the rest of the guys, they wanted to speak, but if they want to wait for Mr. Jimmy, he'll be in 30 minutes, we could, we could allow them to speak when he gets here and ask him if they want.
Well, maybe
But,
if,
Tommy said they're gonna work on it, so I'm taking his word on it.
Yeah.
I just think it's so vital to the Lafourche Parish, especially that area, the amount of people that could use that boat launch. We're gonna need to buy more property once it opens up to park cars. I know that, so.
we've been doing without a boat launch for a long time, and a lot of other people have gotten theirs, so the people of Rose are anxious. We're waiting for something good to happen. We're waiting for this council to do something good for us. If y'all want help, everybody help.
Look, the council
And
did
if everybody
their-
helps, maybe we
did our
can get
part.
it done,
It went through the council, it's passed the council, we're waiting on the administration, so.
Okay.
Boy, that was a burning dumpster on Facebook this weekend, issues about that,
Boat launch.
that's the expression, that's the correct Facebook was blowing up about that, issue, so. We hear you. Anyone else?
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to say that this thing was purchased about 8 months ago, and there's no reason why it couldn't have been fixed where people could use it. I was involved with 2 boat launches. I was involved with one where we lost $500,000, and it took me a long time to get it, but we got it. We also fixed Golden Meadow. And, it's just sitting there. It's uncalled for. I don't care what this council is doing or not doing. It should be done. People are waiting to use this thing. But for some reason, Mr. Jimmy, always I hear Mr. Jimmy. It's everybody. Don't blame it on Jimmy. Blame it on everybody. It should be open today. Use it. Leeville, I still got some things to do, but it's usable. Golden Meadow is usable. Y'all ain't got nothing up in La Rose. It could be done, but it's uncalled for. I'm gonna tell you it's uncalled for. It's shameless, because you bought it 8 months ago and it's still not open. Council can say what they want, the administration can say what they want. It should have been done, period. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking by it.
I do agree with you.
Mr. Daniel, can you let us know what else the council could have done to get it done, aside from, I guess, being new to the council, after it comes through council and we approve it? What else could we have done to move it forward?
Well, if y'all would, y'all all involved in my area. Y'all always going in my area, look at things.
No, just
Look
tell
at
me what could we have
107, look
done.
at 124, look at 217. Maybe if y'all attend to what goes on in y'all area, it would be a lot better.
No, but what is it that we could have done to move it along? I'm seriously asking you that. After we vote for it, I just truly do not know, because we can't negotiate with engineers. So I truly don't know what we can do, but you said there was something else we could do. I was just asking.
Push for it, push for it. The only time I hear anything being talked about the boat launch is when these people come. Other than that, nobody says nothing.
Councilman LaFont?
Tom, if I could have the key to that gate, I could open it tomorrow.
President Cantrell said that it was open. We'll ask him in a second. And unless I saw the signs that Jennifer had ordered for it, and I thought it was open. We'll find out tonight, though. Unless there's a safety reason or something like that, I don't see any reason it shouldn't be open, from what I hear from the people in the area. Mr. Otan just said it might need some work. That might be the case, but if it needs some work, it's probably stuff that we could do in-house with limestone and stuff to make it just the launch acceptable. As far as if we expand it and, put whatever bumpers in there for parking and stuff like that, that's a different issue, but we can do that. But like I say, we can get it open.
Yeah, you need to move some fencing. You're gonna go see, if you go riding out there and look, you'll be able to tell what it needs pretty much. It needs some cleaning, it needs some fencing to be removed and put in other places, and it needs a little work, you know, but I guarantee you it's not open. That big padlock is still on that gate with
Okay,
that big
we'll
old chain,
find out.
you know?
Okay,
We'll find out
so,
in a little bit.
so you're gonna check on that and let us know for sure by, well, hopefully this evening, or if he doesn't make it, by tomorrow.
But I'm
All right,
gonna leave
thank
you guys with this. Everybody here, let's try to see if we can work together. And everybody call Jimmy and say, hey, Mr. Jimmy,
think
what's
it
going
passed
on?
unanimously.
There's people, look,
The initiative
we don't
passed
wanna
the
fill
council
this council full
unanimously.
of people. We can. I'll go to every house in La Rose if I have to. We can. We don't wanna do that. We just wanna launch. Please let us launch. We bought it, you paid for it. It should have been done.
We agree.
Because the motion should have came, okay, we got the launch, let's do something with it. Why we let it sit for 8 months? Y'all got the money. Mr. Jimmy said y'all got the money. What's the problem?
That would be a question for Mr. Jimmy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Melvin?
We gave them the money to buy it. As per the charter, we cannot, by law, do anything else.
Okay.
I want to use the launch too, but our hands are tied. We've done our part. That's why you have two bodies of government.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we trying to
So
push
it's
it
up to
along.
Mr. Jimmy right now, when or
That's
how.
my
it
understanding,
gets
according to the
open.
rule
We
of law.
can't even contact the engineer and tell them.
Okay.
And direct,
Yeah.
we can't direct employees,
So, I
engineers,
mean, I
anything.
feel you. I got phone calls. I don't want to start naming names,
Yeah,
but I got
yeah.
people calling me all the way
Yeah.
in Thibodeau.
Well, maybe if that's the case, maybe just get a little more involved and call him and say, look, Jimmy, I got a bunch of people calling, man, they're ready
We're
for
gonna
this
ha-
launch, you know?
Okay,
Come
we're gonna have
on,
to
let's
move.
do something, you know? Let's try to help these people out, you know?
Councilman Otan?
I can assure you that I have. I have for two years from this, when this first came up, because I've been trying to get the same engineering group from Lock, because I'm right in the middle. I live in Valentine, so I'm right in the middle of Lockport's launch and this launch. So I have, and once again, he agreed to hire All South, so it's been moving along.
Yeah.
It hasn't from lack of effort, minus what everybody's saying, but there's a lot of other things going on in the parish as well. But this is
Right.
one of them.
Well,
I guarantee at least once a month I've asked and inquired, and
Yeah.
and I feel that it's moving along
Yeah.
in typical government fashion,
Yeah.
but it's moving along.
Okay, one
But-
more comment and we need to move on. Councilman
I'd
LaFont?
just like to ask the administration if they can ask Mr. Stevie Smith to be at the next council meeting to give us a report on it. That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It would be a great accomplishment for this council.
We
if
agree.
they get this boat launch open.
We agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Tom Crosby, if you'd come to the podium, sir, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Crosby, please remember you have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, Tom Crosby here. They had some good points brought on in the Delta Forum boat launch.
Excuse me, name and address for the record, please.
Oh, Tom Crosby, 133 West 38th Street, La Rose.
Thank you.
Some good points were brought up against the Delta Forum boat launch. You know, I could understand if there was rigging up handicap accessibilities and stuff like that for the docks and all, in which there will be people like that that's using it, you know? And it denies access when you have to launch in Bayou Lafourche and you got the floodgate that closes on you, and you have bridge curfews that impedes your travel. You got the summer coming, kids want to ride their jet skis, they want to water ski, and where we putting them? In an intracoastal canal with heavy tug traffic. We had a Clovelly boat launch that they let fumble. Now, that's a safe area. You go to Little Lake, Bayou Pedro, Lafitte. Now, if you're gonna launch in Delta Forum, and you wanna go to Little Lake, you're gonna have to go all the way to Teton and Bayou Pedro, cross the lake, cross tugboat traffic, cross all kind of underwater, all field hazards. You know the all field don't leave no pipe where it don't belong, right? So, gates that spring up that wasn't there last week or the month before, coastal erosion, and you're traveling at night with your kids. And that's the kind of situations that we're facing. You took a 15-minute trip and turned it into an hour and 15 minutes. And if the fun lasts a little longer in the afternoon and it gets dark, just think the people that don't feel we need a boat launch in the La Rose, South Lafourche area to access Plum Point, Little Lake, areas like that. Leeville has their launch. The Intracoastal Waterway has their launch. Where's our launch? They build a bridge by the Tideland Golf Course. Build another bridge. Let's go to the pumping station right there. We could launch, they got a canal. Build it. I challenge you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Councilman LaFont?
I just want to thank Tom for coming. He's been adamant about getting launches open. I appreciate you, and thank you so much for it, Tom. And I just want to say, if you ever need a good pencil drawing of some wetlands, that's the man that can do it, because he's a great artist also. Thank you, Tom.
Miss Wendy Thibodeau, if you'd approach the podium. State your name and address for the record, Miss Thibodeau.
Just, I
An
asked
overview.
Wendy, well, I'll let you state your name and address for the record.
Wendy Thibodeau, Lafourche Parish Assessor, 403 St. Louis Street, Thibodeau, Louisiana.
I asked Wendy to come tonight because I got a lot of calls from residents asking what was up with the millages and why are we voting for more taxes and questions like that. So I asked Wendy if she could come and just explain what's before us and any comments that she may have. I wanted to give you a chance as assessor to share your feedback.
Okay, are y'all rolling up on any of them?
Some of them are scheduled to roll up, yes. Will you explain what roll up means to?
Okay, in every 4 years, the assessor's office is mandated to do a reassessment. That's when I go through and revalue all property in Lafourche Parish. At that time, it is a requirement of the state that no district is to collect $1 more than what it did the prior year in a reassessment year, the prior year to reassessment. A district is not to generate $1 more from the process that I do in reassessing the property. So after I reassess property, that value goes to the legislative auditor. The legislative auditor adjusts the millage rate so that the same amount of tax dollars that was generated the year before reassessment is generated the same year in reassessment. The districts at that point in time have the opportunity to roll their millage forward back up to the millage rate in the prior year that would generate more tax dollars. It's, if I would have known, I would have brought the faucet, so. But it's the same thing. What it does is it just generates, it's the taxable value. I increase the taxable value typically. The millage rate is lowered in order to generate the same amount of tax dollars the year prior. If the taxing district chooses to roll their millages forward, that would be an increase in taxable value, an increase in the rate, which would generate an increase in revenue.
How many we have, Ms. Carleen, that's rolling forward? 4. About 4? Okay. And on the others that are staying the same and, same or renewed, there's nothing that the council can do to, well, I'll let you explain.
Right.
The council's responsibility there.
On the districts that are rolling forward.
Same and renew.
The same, the districts that are the same, that are staying the same, are just renewing. Renewing, you're talking about that went to an election, am I correct?
Right.
All right, let me start with that one. The ones that went to an election, it's required by the state that the district levy whatever millage rate was voted on by the vote of the people for the first time it goes on to the tax roll. So if there was an election and a district elected 10 mills, it is required by the state that that district levy the 10 mills the first year that it goes on to the roll. I don't know why, but that is a requirement by the state. The ones that are staying the same and not rolling forward, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be levied the same amount that it was. I'm assuming that it was the adjusted millage rate after the last reassessment in 2016. the millage rate was lowered in order for the taxing district not to receive more revenue than what it did the year prior, and they're just remaining at that lower millage rate.
Okay. Does anyone else want to ask her a question that maybe she can explain to people that may be watching, or that can be printed in the paper? Do you all get calls as well, or is it just me? Okay, would you like to add anything?
I got a
Nope.
question.
Councilman LaFont?
So on the four that are looking to roll forward, if this council would choose not to roll forward, they just stay at the current rate?
As long as the proper documentation is done, you should have two resolutions, or y'all do ordinances. So you should have two ordinances in front of you. Are y'all voting on the millage rates tonight?
Yes.
Okay, you should have two ordinances in front of you. One should say at the increased millage rate, the roll forward, and then you should have another ordinance that says that it's remaining the same in case the roll forward does not pass, that you can pass the second ordinance at the reduced millage rate. Now, if you choose to not elect either one, then that district would not generate any revenue for 2019.
Yeah, they're the four or after they roll them forward.
It should be, you should have
they-
one that has the increase, the roll forward, and one that remains at the same rate that it levied last year. If both of them fail, then that district would not get a dime from ad valorem taxation.
Well, hopefully things, it looks like it's picking up because
It
the
is.
barrel of oil went into the high 70s yesterday, so
It
hopefully things
is,
are picking up.
but we have to also remember that as far as ad valorem taxation goes, we're not good, that's not gonna materialize for us until probably 19 or 20, because I'm a year behind. What I'm doing in 2018 is reflective of what took place in 2017. So what's happening in 2018 won't be reflected on the ad valorem tax roll until 2019. And then in 2019, it'll be reflective in 2020. I'm basically a year behind what is happening today. So
For people who are watching that may not know, can you explain what ad valorem tax is?
ad valorem taxes is taxation on property. It could be movable property or real property. Movable property would be anything that you can literally pick up and move. It can move from place to place. Furniture, desks, tables, boats, pipelines. Real property is anything that's affixed to the ground permanently, commercial improvements or homes. That would be real estate. And my job is to put a value on every piece of property for ad valorem taxes. And
Bless you.
God bless you. That's annually. So that's, that value is applied, is calculated with the rates that are elected by the people of Lafourche Parish and the districts that they choose to elect it to. And that's what generates ad valorem taxes. And that's the bill that you get every December.
Councilman Paralew?
Hey, Wendy, quick question. How do you determine when to increase value of taxes, like on a homeowner? What justifies an increase on their taxes?
It goes by market value, whatever that one willing buyer is willing to pay to a seller. So, one willing seller is willing to sell to a willing buyer. That increase would be if the market of that property increases. Now, during reassessment, it can decrease. And in 2016, there were some areas that actually did decrease in market value. And so it just goes by what the market is dictating for 4 years. So in 2020 is my next mandated reassessment. So in 2020, I'm going to take sales from 16, 17, 18, and 19 and come up with what the market is for 2020. My office works in the rears. I don't work future or present. I work in the past.
So that's based on like home sales in the area over the past 4 years, and then
I come up
put
with
an
an
average
average dollar per square foot. I try and get it. Lafourche is very unique because of the geographical layout of the parish. So what I do is I take subdivisions, because those are usually like in kind in shape and size, and I come up with the sales in that area, get $1 per square foot for the ones that have sold, Then I take that dollar per square foot and I apply it across the whole subdivision. What I do is called mass appraisal. I don't do individual appraisals, like when you go out to the public and you hire an appraiser, that's somebody coming in and looking at your house and giving you a value on that one specific home or business. What I do is mass appraisal. I appraise property across the board. I basically value it by the size, the bricks and the mortar. So what I do is mass appraisal. And then in different areas like on tracts of land that aren't in a specific subdivision, what I try and do is get the houses that are like, kind, and similar in a certain area and compare those sales and apply it like I do in a subdivision. It just would be more, it would be more linear than it would be in an area.
Okay, and Wendy, another question. What if a homeowner disagrees with your assessment? When it comes time to pay this new increased rate, and they're like, look, my house did not increase in value. As a matter of fact, it may have decreased.
Correct. And there is laws in place that allow a homeowner to, or a business for that matter, to protest their values. And every August and July, I come out with the dates, and that is published on my website and so forth. And with the Louisiana Tax Commission, I'm required to give them those dates on when the values, basically the books are open. They can look at their values and, you know, make appointments and question their assessed value. And that's usually in the first 2 weeks of August, and it's also published in the paper when my books are open. So they can look at their values. I mean, my books are basically open all year, but legally I'm open for 2 weeks out the year. And they can call and question their values. After that, if there is no agreement with the assessor, the second step in the process is to file a formal protest, and that would be with the parish council. And then that would be go in front of the board of review. And in September of every year, you all sit as my board of review for myself and the public, and they can come up in front and they have the right to present their argument on what they believe their value is, and then I come and present why I came up with the value that I came up with. And then you all, as a board of review, vote on it and determine whether, you know, which value you agree with. And then even at that point, but either party, myself or the taxpayer, have the right to again protest that. If they don't agree with what the board of review says, they can protest it to the Louisiana Tax Commission. And the same process goes. They would set a date, you would go in front of the Louisiana Tax Commission, and the Tax Commission would hear both sides, and they would make a determination.
Okay, and one more thing while you're here. Disabled veterans.
Yes.
I understand that there's a program that the state passed or the parish adopted that disabled veterans can get a break on their homeowners and tax liability. Can you tell me what disability rate that applies to?
There's actually two different things in place. One is a disability freeze for veterans. You have to be 50% disabled through the VA in order to freeze your assessment. The reassessment process that I was speaking of in 2020, for instance, if a disabled veteran is disabled by the VA, 50% or greater, they can bring that documentation into the office and they could qualify for a freeze, meaning that when I go and reassess all property in the parish, I am not allowed to reassess their property. That value would stay the same, not their taxes, but the value would stay the same, and I wouldn't be able to touch it. There's a second program in place, and it's actually a double homestead exemption. Any veteran that is disabled 100% service-connected, meaning their disability would have to be from a service injury that made them, you know, qualified them to be disabled. And there is a certain set of documents from the VA that you have to get. There's a lot more to that. But they would be eligible for an additional $75,000 homestead exemption on top of the $75,000 that everyone, you know, is entitled to, one per homeowner.
Councilman LaFont?
Yeah, thank you for coming. What percentage right now of homes are actually completely homestead exempt? Do you have that figure with you? I know
It's around 28%.
28%, so it went down a little bit.
28 to 30%. Oh, I do have it, hold on.
It went down
Wait.
somewhat.
I do have it, hold on. It goes down every year. I forgot I had it. have 28%.
That's fine, thank you. Also, I think one time, I think you were assistant at the time. I remember the taxes going up because I got a lot of phone calls on LA 1 and 308.
Yes, that was in 2013.
I think the state came in and told you had to reappraise them because
Yes.
somebody made a complaint, which caused everybody on 308 and LA 1 to go up.
Correct.
Am I correct? Okay. So
That
the state
happened
can
in
come in here and order you
2013.
to also do an appraisal in the middle of the 4 years.
They can. It wasn't considered a reassessment because a reassessment, anytime they have a mandated reassessment in between the 4 years, like 16 to 20, when they came in there, the tax commission had received a complaint by 2 neighbors, and they were comparing their values, which drew a red flag. They came in, looked, and they pretty much said that if I didn't do a reassessment of the highway property, that they were gonna come in and do it. And that was, I mean, it wasn't officially mandated, but it was mandated. So in 2013, that was done. And if you want to know 100%, let me see, they have 12,699 parcels that are 100% homestead exempt out of 40,000 tax notices. But that's not comparison to real estate. That includes all tax notices. That includes pipelines, personal property, oil and gas, public service, so.
Anyone else? Thank you,
Yeah,
Wendy. Oh, Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. You know, when they had that House Bill 391 going on, I got a couple of emails.
About the fishing.
Right.
Okay.
There's some landowners, a lot of land, not say plenty, but there's some big, large landowners throughout this parish. And I know you probably have some assessment with salt water, fresh water, marsh, good land, whatever. Are there some landowners out there that are paying 17 cents an acre?
Yes.
Wow.
In taxes. The assessed value, I don't have the breakdown of it, but that is through the legislature.
I understand,
And it's agricultural land.
but these landowners lease it to the crabbers, lease it to the shrimpers, lease it to the oystermen, hunting leases, everybody, and they're making a fortune off of that. And they're only paying 17 cents an acre?
I agree. But
My
you also
God.
have to understand that they are not the only ones that receive use value.
No, I understand, but it's
There are
just not fair.
also, well, because sometimes when people get into this, they only want to see a certain portion
I
of the big
understand that.
picture. You know, all of those mamas and papas that have those tracts of land
Yeah.
that go from the bayou all the way to the 40 arpent, they're also receiving those same tax breaks. And if you change it for the big landowners, you're going to be changing it for the little landowners too. And people that are on fixed incomes, if they started getting taxes on, if that use value went away, you got to think of the grandmas and the grandpas that have been owning this property for their whole entire life, that they're going to be taxed at $5,000 an acre or $6,000 an acre. It's not, you can't just pick and choose who you want to do that to. I'm not saying it's right, and I have no opinion on it either way. I'm just saying we have to look at the whole picture. If the big dogs get a tax break because my mamas and papas get a tax break, I want the mamas and the papas to be able to get their prescriptions.
Well, if everybody would be at 17 cents an acre, we'd be starving.
Everybody is at 17, not everybody is at 17 cents an acre, but you have certain qualifications. You have to own more than 3 acres, and if you own less than 3 acres, you have to generate $2,000 of income annually through you have to claim that through IRS. So there are qualifications.
Most of it is cash anyway.
Well, I don't know that.
Anyone else? Thank you, Wendy.
Alrighty.
Engineers, architects, letter E. Let me just say, I know you're not usually too long-winded, but at 6 o'clock, we have to start public hearings, so
Make it quick. Jack Plaisance, 115 Picciola Parkway. We have 4 engineering projects I'm going to report on, and CDBG projects, which we do the management on. First project being road sales tax 24L. We're currently advertising for bid. We have a pre-construction conference tomorrow, and we have bids opening on June 5th. So that's a major update from what we've done in the last several council reports. Things are moving. Second project is the EDA grant program, 308 turn lane, the airport access roadway. All the engineering work is complete. Right-of-way acquisition is complete, and we're ready to advertise for bids with the final review from the EDA. And moving on, demolition of the Chevron Bridge down in Fouchon. Tidewater Dock completed all the work. Substantial completion was issued on the 27th of last month, and the project was finished ahead of schedule, below budget. Final payment pending a clear lien certificate. Basically done. And finally, Choctaw Levee rehabilitation and permitting. You remember you have this council recently approved an agreement with the EPA. It's now in place. We've had several meetings with the Corps and the state DNR, and we've finalized and submitted a joint permit application to begin the permitting phase. And I'll also briefly update on the CDBG projects. The Dugas Canal project is ready to bid. We should know more later this week, but we should be working towards a bid advertisement with Mr. David Waits. The West Side Drainage Project is basically complete, pending retainage and a clear lien certificate. The Highway 308 roadway and drainage improvements with Angelette Picciola is also complete, pending retainage to Huey Stockstill, under budget, successfully completed. Parla Rose Pump Station. We got a report this week that low lift is about 80% complete on the pump rehabilitation modifications, and we're anticipating that the work at low lift will be complete within about the next 2 weeks. Sea level will immediately come to reinstall the pumps once the modifications are complete. And finally, the Lafourche Community and Recreation Center. There is an ordinance, item 41 on tonight's agenda, to ratify the purchasing of the Falgu property. The plans, I know, are basically complete with the plans and specifications. All the permitting is complete. All the submittals to the state are complete and approved. And as soon as the property is purchased, we'll move into the advertising and bidding phase. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Councilman Melvin?
Yes, Jack, real quick, Dugas Canal, it's been since 2011, the bids are going out, so it's been a while. When are they going out, you know?
Well, the engineer is waiting for a recorded copy of the final right-of-way agreement. If he gets that tomorrow, he can put that in his specifications and begin the advertisement tomorrow. So he's actually waiting on paperwork right now, but he's ready to go.
Best time, what you guesstimate now?
I think he could do it this week, next week. It just depends on when the paperwork comes in.
Councilman LaFont?
Hey, Jack, you said we're going to be voting on the Lockport, the community center.
Yes, sir.
What's the available funds for the CDBG money available for that right now?
The CDBG funds is about 3.6 million, and the parish has allocated 1.5 several years ago. The land acquisition would have to come from that parish portion of the work, and the total's 5. Does that add up right? 3.6 and 1.5. It's about 5. The total amount is about 5. I think I'm adding that up correctly.
That's
on the
5.1, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have those funds all available.
Those funds have been allocated several years ago. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other, you had something else? Jerry?
No, I'm sorry.
Any other engineers? Please state your name and address for the record, please, and you have 4 minutes.
Okay. Matt Rodrick, Duplantis Design Group, 314 East Bayou Road. I'm going to stand in for Heather and give the updates on the projects here. So Timberland Pump Station, we're set to receive bids on Thursday on that project, so we will review the bids and we should have a recommendation shortly thereafter. Parish-wide pump station, we're finalizing bidding documents. We're set to have everything finished in late June, and here's a list of all the improvements there on that particular project. So Layton Pump Station, we met with GOSEP, I think the end of last month, and they had added some scope items for our, I guess they added some items into our scope. We're set to respond to their RFI. We should have their response in a couple of weeks. In the Lafourche Community Center, what Jack had just mentioned, we're finalizing plans and we have everything set to advertise for bids on 6/1. Streetlight permitting, we received a batch of permits from Mr. Wallace, Mr. Jerome, Group K. We have those ready to send out to DOTD. All that's left is to get the signature from Mr. Wallace, and then Group L we received today. So it's the next batch of 5, and we'll be working on those over the next couple weeks. And the HMGP home elevations, we're working with landowner on 212 Napoleon Street, and the construction on that particular home is awaiting DHH approval. Thank you.
Any questions? Quickly, Lafont?
Y'all have drawings of the Lockport Community Center?
Yes, sir.
Could we get them to the council, please, so we can look at them
Sure.
just to see what we're looking at in the future?
Okay, sure.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm not going to start anything because we only have 2 minutes. Did anyone want to say, add, do anything? I don't know if we can really actually, let the record show Mr. Jimmy walked in at 5:45 PM. And there were no more engineers, right? Okay. Councilman Lafont?
Since, if Mr. Jimmy's here, I saw Tommy talking to him, I'm not sure if that's what they were talking about. If they can update us on what maybe Mr. Jimmy's feelings are or thoughts are.
You have 2 minutes, though. You have to be,
Yeah, short.
public
Thank you.
hearing starts at 6.
All right, real quickly, we're waiting for the signs to come in. Once the signs come in, we'll put them up right away, and we're gonna open it.
Thank you.
Mr. Jimmy, what did the signs say? Just curious.
I'm not exactly sure of everything, but it's gonna say we have no security, and, if you leave your boat, your car parked overnight, there won't be any security, so you're leaving it at your own risk, and a few other things on
Okay.
it, you know.
But not keep out, right?
Oh, no.
Mr. Melvin
no,
asked.
No,
All right.
no.
That was a good one, Bo.
That's just
Oh,
for
Mr.
boat.
Paraloo said.
That was just for boat.
Oh, that was Mr. Paraloo, sorry, so it was for Paraloo. All right, thank you, Mr. Jimmy. And where did Mr. Bourgeois go? Let the record show Mr. Bourgeois stepped out at 5:59 PM. We just have a few seconds and then we'll start the public hearing. F, 2018 millages, public hearing and public meeting at 6 PM. Motion to open the public hearings, moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes.
7 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 out of the room at time of vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays,
1 absent, Dean Michael Gross.
1 absent, Michael Groh, and 1 out of the room at the time of vote, Mr. Bourgeois. Okay. Number 12, discuss levying the same 2018 millage rates as the prior year for the following: Let the record show that Councilman Bourgeois stepped back in at 6 o'clock p.m. Drainage District Parish-wide 022. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comments from the council? Fire Protection District number 9080. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Fire Protection District number 1056. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Fire Protection District number 7085. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Fire Protection District number 4058, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Health Unit 013, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Public Building 016, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Recreation District number 2084, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Recreation District number 8076, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Recreation Facility 015, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Veterans Memorial District Ward 10092, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Library 014, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Libraries 017, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Special Service District number 1019, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? General Alimony 009, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Criminal Tax 010, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Drainage, Health, and Library 077, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Road District number 1078, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Can I get a motion to close public hearing? Moved by Paraloo, second by Otan. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Michael Groh being absent. G, public hearing and public meeting and ordinances for ratification. So this will be a little bit slower. This is where we vote on the items. A voice roll call vote must be taken on each ordinance. On a final signed copy of each ordinance, each council member's name shall be noted as to which way voted next to yeas, abstained, and absent. Can I get a motion to open public hearings? Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Michael Groh being absent. Ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish Lafourche Drainage District parish-wide. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Oops, sorry. Oops, voice roll call. Thank you for catching that, Ms. Carlene. Yes, Ms. Carleen, please.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois. Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Passes 8-0-1. Passes 8-0-1. The one absent is Mr. Grow.
Number 14, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 and all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Fire Protection District Number 9, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Ms. Carleen, can you do public, one time, two times, three times? Any discussion from the council? Ms. Carleen, can you do
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Passes 8-0-1. The one absent, Mr. Grow.
Number 15, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 and all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Fire Protection District Number 1, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, the 1 absent being Mr. Grow.
Number 16, ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2018 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Fire Protection District Number 7, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Item 16 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent being Mr. Grow.
Number 17, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Fire Protection District Number 4, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Item 17 passes 8-0-1, the 1 being an absent of Mr. Grow.
Number 18, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Health Unit, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
18 passes 8-0-1, 1 nay, 1 absent, Mr. Grow.
Number 19, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Public Building, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. Item 19 passes 8-0-1, the 1 being an absent of Mr. Grow.
Number 20, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Recreation District Number 2, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
Item 20 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, that being Mr. Grow.
Number 21, ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Recreation District Number 8, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes.
21 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, that being Mr. Grow.
Number 22, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche recreational facilities, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine. 22 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, the absent being Mr.
Number 23, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Veterans Memorial District, Ward 10, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Melvin. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine. 23 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, the 1 absent being Mr. Grow.
Number 24, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Library, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois, second by Bourgeois. And public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. And Mr. Lorraine. Number 24 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, the 1 absent being Mr. Grow.
Number 25, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Library, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine. 25 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent being Mr. Grow.
Number 26, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Special Service District Number 1, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Abstain.
Mr. Melvin.
Yay.
Mr. Perilou. Mr. LaFont. Mr. Lorraine. Number 26 passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, that being Mr. Grow, 1 abstention, that being Ms. Posito.
Number 27, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche. General alimony, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Perilou. public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none. Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Paraloo. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. Item 27 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, that being Mr. Grove.
Number 28, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche. Criminal tax, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Paraloo. Was that a yay, Mr. Paraloo? Okay. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. Number 28 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent being Mr. Grove.
Number 29, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche. Drainage, health, and library, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Sposito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Paraloo. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. Item 29 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent being Mr. Grove.
Number 30, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche. Road District Number 1, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan. Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin. Mr. Paraloo. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. Item 30 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent being Mr. Grove.
Can I get a motion to close? Motion. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grove being absent. H, 2018 millages, public hearing and public meeting at 6 p.m. Well, can I get a motion to open? Moved by Paraloo, second by Melvin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grove being absent. Number 31, discuss levying rolling forward 2018 millage rates for the following: general alimony 009, public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Criminal tax 010, public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Drainage, health, and library 077, public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Drainage, health, and library 077, public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Road District Number 1, 078, public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Can I get a motion to close? Paraloo, second by Otan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grove being absent. Okay. I, public hearing and public meeting and ordinances for ratification. A voice roll call must be taken on each ordinance. On the final signed copy of each ordinance, each council member's name shall be noted as to which way voted next to yeas, nays, abstained, or absent. And 6 votes will be required to pass. Did y'all hear me, Mr. Lorraine and Lafont? 6 votes will be required to pass. Can I get a motion to open? Moved by Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? All in favor? I'm opening. I think that'll have to be a roll call. To open? I'm opening. Okay, let's start over. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, number 32. Ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, general alimony, rolling forward. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Councilman Lafont.
I just think we need to be wary before we raise taxes rolling forward, because we're gonna want to come back forward pretty soon with a 3-cent, sales tax. People already burdened with jobs and all that stuff, so we just gotta be wary on how we vote for this. One of them, I know we need drainage, but I think the library's got a lot of money on one of them in particular. So that's all I gotta say about it, so we just gotta be wary.
Just make sure you bring up specifics that when we get to each item, Mr. Lafont, if you could, so we don't. Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm the one that sponsored just about every one of them. Philip Gould used to do it, but he ain't here no more. So, my question is on the general alimony, does that come from the municipalities? Hello?
Mr., we didn't read that first one yet, did we?
I think the general alimony.
I didn't? All right, so. We do the public first, then I do my public. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Lang. Mr. Lasang. Go ahead and answer.
I think that is parish-wide. The reason we put that one on is it's like a general fund money. It's $110,000 would be the total value received, approximately. All of them, that one's 110, the next one's 90, the next one's 230, the next one's 200, and I agree with the library does, but they get a small portion of that one. But in the sake of drainage, we put this one on here to get money for drainage. And like I say, the library has a small portion. The library had agreed to give this up at one time too. So it may be wise
I'm
for.
going to get you to bring up those items when
Okay.
you're there, if y'all don't mind, just so we can keep the discussion about the item we're voting on.
So
Did
we-
you have something else to answer, Mr. Lorraine? You had something else
No,
about the
so how
general
much you
alimony?
said that we're rolling forward on this one on alimony?
This one would be about 110,000.
And that's not coming from the municipalities? I always thought that, the alimony tax was paid to the parish from the municipality.
I think this is parish-wide tax, and they get a portion of it.
Maybe Wendy can answer that.
Ask Tommy a question.
Hang on a second. Mr. Bourgeois.
My understanding is, so a nay vote means that we leave them where they are. In other words, we don't roll forward, we just keep them at the current rates.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lafont.
Tommy, what percentage rate or what millage rate they collecting now, and what is it going up to?
They're getting 2.58, it would go 2.69, it'd be 0.11 mills.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lorraine, you done? Any further discussion? Wendy, can you come to the? State your name and address
It's not
for
a
the record,
parish-wide
please.
millage. I'm just trying to
Wendy,
figure out.
can
I'm
you
sorry.
state your name and address
Wendy
for the record,
Thibodeau,
please?
Lafourche Parish Assessor, 403 St. Louis Street, Thibodeau, Louisiana. It's not a parish-wide millage rate, but I'm trying to figure out who is not included in that. I don't know if the rolling stock, it may be a public service thing, not a municipality, but I will get you to answer. Just give me a second to get on the website. And you said that it was rolling forward to, what you said you were rolling up to the maximum?
2.69.
2.69 is the maximum. It was levied at 2.58, and it would be rolling forward to 2.69.
And Mr. Lasang, what is general alimony for? What is that specifically?
Mostly just general fund money to.
Okay. Mr. Perilou?
So I just want to, I want to double down on the question. That way we all understand what's going on here. These are to roll forward the millage rates that are in place right now for each one that we're about to address here that says rolling forward. So I'm gonna go on the record right now and say I'm not voting to roll forward any taxes on the citizens of Lafourche tonight.
Mr. LaFont?
I'm a piggyback off Mr. Perilou, I'm not either.
While we're waiting on Wendy, if, yeah,
I'm
go
waiting
ahead,
on the
Wendy.
website. I'm
But I
pulling
did
up.
want to bring up something. If we choose not to roll forward, I remember there was some discussion, if we don't roll it forward this year, in future years, do they have the option to roll it forward, or are they stuck at this amount?
You
Mr.
have to roll
Lesang?
it once in the 4-year period.
Correct.
So, all right.
What'll happen is that, I'm waiting for it to pull up. If you do not roll forward before the next reassessment, which would be 2020, your maximum millage rate would become the 2.58. That would become your maximum. And when I do reassessment in 2020, it would be rolled back from the 2.58. You would never be able to go back up to the 2.69 unless you went back to the vote of the people.
But not rolling forward will,
If you don't roll forward this year, you still have next year.
still have next year's,
You cannot roll forward in
2020.
2020.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, but I don't
That's
have
okay.
Wi-Fi in here, so it's taking me a little
We
while.
want to get all the information before we vote. Anyone else had something?
It is not a parish-wide millage rate. I'm just trying to find out if it's the municipalities or it's public service. Some of the rolling stock is not included in parish-wide millage, and I don't know if this is one of them. I just want to be sure before I actually testify to something like that, but it's taken a while to pull it
Do
up.
you have,
Yes.
Gretchen has it on the end. Just Wendy, last Gretchen on the left behind Tommy, she's got the code for you.
So in general, alimony tax is rolling forward. Somebody decided to put that, it had been administration here. There's to roll forward, so somebody has to make that determination that we want to go ahead and roll forward. When you made that determination on this, we don't know. What I'm saying is, did the town of Lockwood say, yeah, we want to roll forward? Now we're debating that. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
ask them. Ask them while they're here. Now's the time.
That's a good thing to ask.
Put your light on me.
Yes, the municipalities are included in the general alimony tax. It must be the public service, like rolling stock is not included in the parish millage rate. In the general alimony, sorry, I misspoke. But it is included on, I pulled up an assessment in Lockport, and they are assessed at the parish council.
Okay, Councilman Otan?
So just a quick question. This would have been something supported or not supported by the town of Lockport? Or is this just something that's put on by the administration of the Lafourche Parish government? I'm asking because I know there's many different millages that the decision to present to this council of rolling forward or not is made elsewhere and then it's presented to us. On this general alimony, is this was totally made by the administration or is this being supported by the municipalities?
Made by
Mr. Lesang?
administration.
By administration. You should have documentation from each district that what they recommend, whether it's recommend to roll forward or not, you should have that from every district. I know that's required. You need to know what difference,
What's that, Wendy?
the difference in, did somebody ask what the difference in?
Go ahead and-
The increase in millage rate is? Give me a second.
No, Jimmy, Thomas said this was one that they made a decision on. It wasn't solicited. If it's standalone just by them, but I guess if it's a group, then they're not solicited.
Right now, at the 2.58 mils, it generates $2,380,059.55. At the increased millage rate, it would be $2,481,529.38. So it would be the difference in between that is what the millage rate, the roll forward would generate.
It's more.
You want me to calculate
It's
that
about-
too?
It's over 2, right? It's not over 2?
No, it's right
I
at
don't have a
100.
can.
Is that? Oh, yeah, okay. Councilman
Y'all
Bourgeois?
calculated it?
Bourgeois?
Wendy, what would that be like for the average taxpayer? I mean, you know, millage rates and all of that, but what's the increase going to be like on an average homeowner in Lafourche Parish? I mean, just a rough
Okay.
number.
An average home is about $150,000. So that's typically what I do, you know, whenever I'm asked. So with a homestead, which would be $75,000, right now, they are paying 2.58. This tax right now, what they're paying in the general alimony would be $19.35. And with the roll forward, it would be 269. It would be $20.17. So it's about a little,
So about $1 on
Close to
this
$1.
one, and I mean, and I'm just going to ask this if it's okay, like, on all of these, what do you think the average increase would be for a homeowner? I mean, on all four?
well, I don't know all of them. I mean, you see how long it took me just to
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
out that
yeah.
one. So
Okay. I didn't know
would
if you
have to
had
go
that.
through every one of them because they are different. I don't even know what the roll forward is on. I mean, I have it, but I got a 4-page document to look through because it's not just separated by y'all. I have every millage rate for the whole parish.
Right, right.
here.
I mean, the next one is going to go from
It's
0.68
6.5. 6.5.
Mr. LaFont, hold on a second.
sorry.
Mr. Bourgeois?
It's going to go from .68 to .77 would be the next one.
I could tell y'all those answers if you want.
Mr.
You do have them
Lasang?
all calculated?
The first one is about 80 cents, like she said. The second one would be about 70 cents. The next one would be about $1.70, and the next one would be about $1.50 per average
On
household.
75,
Yeah,
on a
no,
$150,000 home with a homestead exemption.
So less than $5. Okay, thank you.
Now, that's just for homes. I mean, that's homeowners. With businesses and so forth, it would naturally be increased because they don't have a homestead exemption.
Okay, Mr. LaFont?
I just was gonna tell her it's 6.5% total, if you take all 4 of them. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay. Ms. Colleen?
Okay, Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Jones, you were a nay, am I correct? Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Yay.
Mr. Melvin.
Nay.
Mr. Perilou.
Nay.
Mr. LaFont.
Nay.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yay.
Number 32 fails. 4 yeas, 4 nays, and 1 absent.
Just a reminder, it takes 6 to pass. Mr. Lorraine, you had something? Number 33, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, criminal tax rolling forward, public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Oh,
Who was the second?
wait a second, this was,
Mr. Lorraine moved up, seconded.
yeah, okay.
Get the second.
I didn't ask. Second by
Mr.
Bourgeois. All right.
Public.
Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yay.
Mr. Otan.
Yay.
Ms. Posito.
Nay.
Mr. Melvin.
Nay.
Mr. Perilou.
Nay.
Mr. LaFont.
Nay.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yay.
Item 33 fails with 3 yeas, 5 nays, and 1 absent.
Number 34, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, drainage, health, and library. Rolling forward, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Lafont. Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yay.
Mr. Otin?
Nay.
Ms. Bozito?
Nay.
Mr. Melvin? Mr. Perilou? Mr. Otin? I'm sorry, Mr. Lafont? And Mr. Lorraine?
Yay.
Item 34 fails, 4 yeas, 4 nays, 1 absent.
Number 35, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Road District Number 1. Rolling forward, moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public, 1 time. Oh, yes, public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Mr. Otan?
Yeah, I can't help but believe that our constituencies would want us to do the full millage on improvement of roads, especially roads, sales tax district number 1. So I'll be certainly supporting this one.
You said you can't believe they wouldn't want? Okay.
Correct.
Anyone else? Mr. Lorraine?
I don't know if you know, but Road Sales District 1 is the whole parish. That's a millage that was passed when Dr. Galliano was here. That's the only tax that was ever passed till we came up with the sales taxes. And that helps out a lot. That's how you run a lot of the parish, besides the sales tax. Can't run it without no taxes, boys.
Mr. Melvin?
Yeah, it's a tough call. I voted for the drainage on the last one. This one's roads. I mean, it's point A, point B. I'm just not a fan of taxes. I'm kind of on the fence about this one.
And I just say it's a rough year. I'm voting yay when I have to, but it's just a rough year. Okay, any further discussion? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yay.
Mr. Otin?
Yay.
Ms. Bozito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin? Mr. Perilou? Mr. Lafont? Mr. Lorraine?
Yay.
Number 35 passes 6 yeas, 2 nays, 1 absent.
Can I get a motion to close motion by Otan, second by Bourgeois? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. J, 2018 millages, public hearing and public meeting at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion to open? Moved by Perilou, second by Otan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Number 36, discuss levying the renewed 2018 millage rates for the following: Council on Aging, 093. Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Okay, can I get a motion to close? Moved by Perilou, second by Otan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. K, public hearing and public meeting and ordinances for ratification. A voice roll call vote must be taken on each ordinance. On the final signed copy of each ordinance, each council member's name shall be noted as to which way voted next to yeas, nays, abstained, or absent. Can I get a motion to open? Moved by Perilou, second by Otan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. 37, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2018 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Council on Aging, moved by Lorraine, second by Perilou. Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council?
Yeah, how much
Mr.
is that?
Lorraine.
How much does that generate? That's 2 mills parish-wide, that's including Thibodeau, Lockport, and Golden Meadow, I'm assuming. Whole parish, right?
Mr. Lasang?
A little over $2 million.
And what does it generate?
A little over $2 million.
2 million? Okay, I don't think nobody's gonna vote against the elderly.
Hope not.
Mr. Paraloo?
I'll vote for it because it is not a tax increase. This is just renewing the tax.
Any further discussion? Being none, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yay.
Mr. Otan? Yay. Ms. Posito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin? Yay. Mr. Paraloo? Yay. Mr. Lafont? Yay. Mr. Lorraine?
Yes.
Item 37 passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent.
Can I get a motion to close? Moved by Otas, second by Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. L, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Can I get a motion to open? Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. 38, ordinance to accept the subdivision known as Old Town Subdivision, Phase 1, into the parish system. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Otan. Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Mr. Lafont?
Where's this, can somebody explain to me where this is located at?
Pardon me?
Where's the subdivision located?
Mr. Jones?
District 1, in between Waverly and Layton Sugar House. Am I right, Pat?
Waverly, you said?
Waverly Road and Layton Sugar House, in between that.
Is that where we have all the drainage issues are right now, or?
This one is further up, but it's supposed to have been approved, the drainage, right?
Ms. Pat? Please state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you, Wendy.
Pat Mathern, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. Old Town is at the corner of Talbot and Waverly Road in Thibodeau. Yes, there are some drainage issues that are taking place in that area. However, they did have a town hall meeting about 2 weeks ago, and all of that's being worked on. This subdivision here has been completed. It has met all the rules and regulations of the Planning Commission, the subdivision regulations, and the Department of Public Works. Therefore, we're asking for it to be accepted into the parish maintenance system. I have a maintenance bond here that was submitted to us for 2 years for maintenance of the streets, drainages, and whatever.
So,
Ms.
Ms. Pat, I've seen it happen plenty of times in the parish. Did this developer take the dirt out the street to build up the property? Is that how he did it, or did they haul it in dirt?
I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. The engineers here, maybe they can answer.
Because I know
it,
we've
but-
done that in a couple of neighborhoods in the northern part of the parish. I'm not sure about the south, but a few in the northern part. And I've seen where, you know, I've seen on Facebook or on social media in instances that the neighbors have basically put the blame on the parish and the parish council because they can't get to their house, get to the street, but it's not us because that's how the developer did. I'd hate for this instance to be same thing, you know.
They can't get to where, he said?
They can't get to their houses because when it rains, the streets becomes a canal because they took all the dirt from the street and made it the lots higher.
Okay. I really can't answer that question.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, you said there was some drainage problems, but it seems like all these developers come in here and do what they need to do, and then it's all lies on the parish. It all falls on the parish's back, every one of them. It's been approved, it's been studied, go ahead, give them the green light, really, and truly, if they go through the process, I don't think you can legally stop them. But it all falls back, parish gotta go put some covers, parish gotta do this, parish gotta, on all of them, just about every one of them.
That's why we have a 2-year maintenance bond they put up.
Right,
for
I
maintenance
understand,
that they're
but it's
responsible
never
for.
used.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, that extension in the back, that is not what's going on here. Because he planning on developing the back part of it. We hadn't, the right-of-way hadn't been signed. They just spoke to the people today on the right-of-way. Now, as far as I know, this Old Town subdivision is in the front, right across from the old auction barn.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And they're not gonna do anything in the back until this drainage problem is corrected in the back.
Well, yes, sir, yes.
All right.
That's another subdivision. It's not an extension of this, and it would be adjacent to it, but it's another subdivision.
Is it a different drainage system?
I think it's
No,
still Henry
it's all
Scott.
in the same area.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why they're working on some
Okay.
issues in that area prior to it.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Mr. Melvin?
Hi, Ms. Pat, thank you for being here.
Sure, thank you.
I echo Ms. Lorraine and Mr. Lafont's concerns, not necessarily with this particular area, but I've heard that Terrebonne Parish has a much stricter building code, stringent guidelines, and I've heard that from engineers, just talking in general. Would you say that we need to take a look at that here in Lafourche? Because, I mean, not just old subdivisions, we've put a lot of money in some brand-new subdivisions to fix them. And I'm not saying the engineers aren't following what they're supposed to be doing, but if they're building to code, then maybe something's wrong. Because we've dumped a lot of money in brand-new subdivisions of the parish since I've been in the seat.
Now, you're referencing building codes.
Oh, I'm just talking about, I'm talking about
okay,
for building
subdivision regulations,
subdivisions. That's what I'm
right,
talking about,
because-
building
right,
subdivisions.
the building codes, you're talking about the
ma'am.
regulations. Yes, I mean, anybody can present, the council can, if there's any changes, I mean, anything could be brought to be amended in the regulations. I don't know what Terrebonne Parish
It just seems like I've seen a lot of money spent on,
I know we recently, I say recently, probably about a year or so ago, they did amend our regulations to improve the standards of the roads that were being built.
because I'm dealing with some in my area, some are old, some brand new.
Right.
And I know I've seen a lot of money in
Well, I know, like I
another
said, they've
area.
upgraded the road standards. I know that in the last year or so. And, I mean, all I can say for drainage is that, I mean, each one that comes before us, the developer and the engineer meet with us, and it's discussed into detail of, any issues in the area. So I'm not the one, I sit in the meetings for the Department of Public Works that actually reviews the drainage and the drainage plans
No,
and
I mean,
everything that's presented.
I see a pattern in some neighborhoods that are done and they're having water problems.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to ask, this is in your area, Mr. Jones?
Yes, District 1.
You okay with it?
The
I mean, I don't know the whole situation. We vote on things and we got to take some advice sometimes. Are you all right with it?
The front part was developed a few months ago. Now, since you brought that question, where we stand at, I guess I asked the administration, where we stand at on correcting the problems on Waverly? Because this subdivision is draining back on Waverly Road, is draining into Miss Lucy District. And it's causing a problem in Creighton Myrtle to the backside. So I'm asking the administration, where do we stand at with the right-of-way and getting these ditches dug on this side of Waverly?
I think that's Magnolia Landing. Creighton Myrtle's in front. I think it's the Magnolia
Magnolia
Landing.
Landing, yeah,
Right.
correct, yeah.
I really don't know. I attended the meeting and I heard what was being proposed, what they were looking at doing, but I'm really not sure what stage they're at.
Mr. Jimmy, I did get an email from your office. You want to share that information?
Well, we're blocking all the culverts across the road so that the water will go to the mobile pump station and not to the other pump station. And that's going to relieve a lot of water. We haven't received all the paperwork on the right-of-ways, and so.
Mr. Jimmy, those two agreements are going to be on next agenda
Okay.
on right-of-ways.
All
And
right.
James Bourne said the culverts off of 309 were already blocked.
That's what I just said, you're right.
Okay.
You're correct.
Anything else were there other right-of-ways we were waiting on other than those two agreements, Mr. Jimmy, do you know?
No, I don't really know. I know that
Okay.
we had signed some, and I really can't answer that. I have to speak to Mr. Barnes again. But I know that we closed the culverts off, and I think we'll see a dramatic change and the water going across that road, so
Mr.
hopefully
Jones?
take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah, did we get a permit, or did we just put blind flanges on the culverts?
Mr. Jimmy?
We didn't do it. We have received a permit. We had applied for a permit a year ago, finally got it, and we were able to do it.
Because that road is state road, am I right?
That is correct.
Because the farmer normally pulls out those plates. So if we got a permit, we should be good.
Okay. Mr. Jimmy, another problem in that area was the Welcome Road pumps. We had talked about possibly the parish taking those over. Is any progress been made on that? Because, you know.
I really don't know at this moment. I'll check into it for you.
Okay. Mr. Lorraine?
So you don't have a problem with this?
No, not the front section, not an extension. We
Okay,
not
I
talking
just
about
wanna
extension.
know.
Just that front section, that's
Okay.
already been approved, yeah.
Anything further?
One
Mr.
thing.
LaFont?
If we can get somebody, if the front section he's saying he thinks is gonna work, if we can get the guys on the committee or whatever to look at that back section really hard, I think it might be something to do.
We have. In other words, we've reviewed it. The Planning Commission only approved their sketch layout for the next one coming up. They want to re-review the construction plans, and the Department of Public Works has done that. That's when the issue with the drainage problems that they're having with the other subdivision, which arose and was the reason for having the town hall meeting. So yes, they are looking at that one. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah, just to
Jones?
make it clear that Mr. Chasson, Mr. Wagaspack, and Mr. Scott, all it was in agreement to give that right-of-way and clean out from a railroad track from Winder Road, coming all the way and dig ditches through their property. But we need to have that did before we can develop any other.
Okay, those names aren't on the next, that's not the two names that are on the next meeting.
Right,
Those-
they're not, because they met with them this afternoon.
Oh, gotcha.
So it should be on maybe the second meeting in June.
Yes, and that can be a condition when y'all look at, when
Right.
the Department of Public Works looks at another phase of they're doing.
Right.
Mr. Jimmy, you had something?
Yes. Anytime you make a subdivision, it affects drainage. It can be not the part you make in the subdivision, but when you put a slab, that's less percolation in the soil, so it does drain off, does affect every subdivision that's there already. So sometimes we calculate it, or you calculate it, and you don't really realize how much one subdivision can affect another subdivision until it's in place. So, I mean, everything affects something sooner or later down the road.
Mr. Parlow?
And that's my main concern. Ms. Pat, when you had the town meeting, I'm sure there were residents that live in the Waverly area that was at the town meeting. Did they have many objecting to this new subdivision?
Well, I think most, Miss Lucy was, the one that was kind of in charge of the meeting. I attended it, and I think with the people were there, like any town meeting, their concerns, and to express their concerns and what issues they were having, so that the parish, the engineers were there, the developer was there for the new development that's going on, and to take into consideration what the problems are, so that they could look into them.
I just feel like this is kind of risky from the council's perspective, because if we're accepting this into the parish, that means this is a done deal. They can go ahead and proceed, right?
No, sir, this subdivision, this Old Town, Phase 1, received approval. They met all the regulations of the planning department, the subdivision regulations, and the Department of Public Works. So the issues that have come about with that area it's after this subdivision was approved.
Okay.
Yes, after this one was approved.
All right. I just hate to be culpable in causing flooding in areas that are already prone to flooding by compounding their problems.
You see, the other one won't come to you until it's all completed and it's met with what's required. So, I mean, they don't come to the council until they've met all the requirements and they've been approved, recorded, and ready to be accepted into the parish system.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Melvin and say I think we probably, as a parish, should probably revisit the criteria for new developments, especially with the flooding issues in a lot of these areas. maybe that would be a prime area to put a committee together and, you know, with people that are in the business and deal with this stuff every day. Ms. Lucy, I mean, you think we can spearhead something like that to,
That's the reason why I have on the agenda to ask the parish president to do, bless you, whoever that was, to ask the parish president to get an engineer to do a storm water drainage plan like Terrebonne has. I think what's concerning me now is these developers met our guidelines.
that's what I'm
So-
saying, to look at the guidelines again.
Yeah, so this stormwater drainage, I think that would improve how we developed greatly. I don't know if any engineers or have experience with Terrebonne as compared to ours and wanted to
It
chime
was
in on
talked
that.
about before in the last administration. I don't,
And
nothing
I
was,
don't think it's a real expensive document from, I talked to some people in Terrebonne, I guess it's like 25,000. But I think it would greatly improve how we develop here. We're stuck right now with, when they meet the criteria, I don't know, do we open the parish to litigation if we don't approve? You see, I see a bunch of heads nodding from Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Lasang. That's why we have to change the regulations, so that's, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mr. Perilou, but on the second phase, or the new subdivision, the extension toward the back and where he's, Mr. Wagenspack is about to build his home in the back along the railroad track, but that's one house. But the subdivision that's coming in between, I don't think I'm gonna have to look at it real hard and not approve it until all these drainage canals are dug in that area to drain that water out, and that's including getting the water off the north side of Waverly Road and helping out the drainage and bringing it back to Layton Pump Station. So they got a lot of work to be did. It said it was a quick fix, but it's not a quick fix. It just take time and they need to do it. So.
Mr. Melvin?
Yeah, again, I know the builders come, they following what they're supposed to do, the engineers, but when everything's done, where we have problems, then the public comes to us. That's my thing, is I'm just trying to make it better for everybody, the builders, the public, especially the people who have to live there, so, you know.
I hear you.
And I see Tony here, I don't know if you're gonna be here the entire meeting. I know you probably, I'm not sure why you're here, or are you expecting any questions about this, this stormwater drainage plan? Are you familiar with Terrebonne's requirements? And I'm asking you because you're in permitting, but, I don't know how that overlaps with what Ms. Pat does at all, it doesn't?
It's handled all through Department of Public Works.
Okay, because I know I met with Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Lasang about this, prior to last meeting, I guess. And, they said they would take a look at it, but I hope that they do. All right, anything further? No further discussion. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. All right, time to vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1, with Councilman Grow being absent. Number 39, ordinance to accept subdivision known as the Settlement at Live Oak, Phase 1 into the parish system. Can someone move for me? Moved by Otis, second by? Second by Bourgeois. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1, with Grow being absent. Number 40, ordinance requesting no dumping of trash, waste, or debris, $500 fine. Signs with the inclusion of the ordinance number at the bottom of the signs be posted at Old Highway 1 in Leeville, Louisiana, near the exit ramp of the elevated highway to Port Fourchon, providing for the placement of no dumping of trash, waste, or debris, $500 fine, and providing for penalties for the violation thereof. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by LaFont. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? LaFont?
Yeah, I just think it's a crying shame that the public would abuse such a beautiful area. To me, it's the longest fishing pier in the world. It's an opportunity for people that can't afford to have a boat to fish, and people are throwing trash there and just leaving. They go there and they make a day of it and they just leave their trash. So maybe in the future, instead of, I know we're gonna pass this, but maybe we can put some, where the main fishing spots are, maybe we can put some garbage cans and have them picked up.
That's a good idea. Mr. Jimmy, did you ever consider that?
No, but I'm gonna tell you the real problem is that they bring bait, and when they finish fishing, they leave the bait on the fishing pier, and that's a problem because it stinks. And we've been keeping it clean as we can, but sometimes you just I don't know why people do such a thing. It's such a beautiful pier, and everybody's enjoying it. It's well used, and like Mr. Lafourche said, people without a boat can go catch fish, and it's a pity that people don't take care of it better than what it should be. You know, you should clean it up after yourself. If it's important enough to bring it out there, it should be important enough to bring it back if you don't use it.
I agree. Mr. Lafourche?
Mr. Jimmy, and thank you for that, but we're not talking about the pier now, we're talking about the foot where Chevron Dock used to be at, all the way to Fouchon, OLA1. So if maybe those, you know, those couple hot spots where people fish, maybe we can get a garbage can put there, it might be something to try to look at it.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, that, basically what he said, we're talking about the old LA1 going to Fouchon. It wasn't safe to fish before they ran the two-lane, the bridge, because traffic now is very seldom somebody, and they got a few good spots right there. So he's right, but after you put a few signs in, most of the time they obey it. Not all the time, but most of the time they will.
You would think they'd know not to do that without a sign, right?
No.
Like people, you would just, I'm surprised you still do it.
If you
Even
put
with
a sign, I've seen purchase something myself and put up and it works.
Okay.
I hope they're not listening to me.
I hope not. All right, anything further? Time to vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 801 with Grow being absent. Number 41, ordinance authorizing Lafourche Parish government to purchase a certain tract or parcel of land designated as Tract 2 containing 32.698 acres in Lockport from Joey and Roxanne Enterprises LLC in the total amount of $458,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer a purchase agreement, act of sale, and any and all relevant documents necessary to acquire said property. Moved by Councilman Otan, second by Paraloo. Public, one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Mr. Otan?
Yeah, I'm just asking for everyone's support, something that the community's been working on for, first time I was brought in was about 21 years ago, trying to find the land, trying to find a funding source, and fortunately, we got that CDBG grant, putting a sizable amount of money. We still had to search around for property and design, et cetera, and certainly not where it was 21 years ago or even 5 years ago in terms of its design, location. But we're finally there. The 458 that you see is less than what it originally was appraised at because of the wetland delineation on some of the back part of the property. None of the property that we were planning on developing for this community center is in the wetland area. So that where the whole intent of building a community center is on nice, solid land. So I beg your support and hope this is one project we can kick off real quick. Thank you.
Councilman Bourgeois?
Councilman Otan, I'm in favor of it. The only question I have for you is, how much of it is usable versus not? I mean, I'm saying how much requires mitigation of the acreage?
So none of it requires mitigation for the project scope as it stands today.
Okay.
Future, I think there was like 9 acres that was considered wetlands. I could be, maybe Mr. Jimmy could remember. I think it was somewhere around 9, but the current scope of work doesn't include any mitigation.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Jimmy, did you have?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions.
Mr. Jimmy, did you have your light on? I can't see. Okay, Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, the only thing I want to know is that you got 32 acres over here, and you said that how many acres is actually wetlands?
I think the Corps, when we went out there and we met with them and they did their analysis, and I think it was somewhere around 9 acres, I think.
Okay, so you got 9 acres. So what happens with those 9 acres? We can never use that?
No, Daniel. That's places we be building ballparks on and all.
Yeah, but if it's wetlands, can you do that?
Yes, you can.
That's what you say.
Well, it's just about be a little mitigation in where the mounds are, and that besides that, it'd be very little.
What you mean a little mitigation? We got a problem in Choctaw and we're gonna be spending plenty money.
No, that's a different situation.
No, it's not a different story. Wetlands is wetlands.
No, you're right.
So that's I'm gonna vote for it. The only problem I got is that if we got these 9 or 10 acres of wetlands and we can never use it, you'll never have nothing there unless you mitigate. So you're actually paying, instead of 594,000, whatever, 458, you're actually paying that for 9 acres of usable property. I mean, the whole thing's in it, I understand, but you won't be able to use it, not even for a ballpark.
Mr. Otan?
Right, and which is why there was a reappraisal.
Right.
So it reflects the fact that you're gonna either have to mitigate or not use it. But I'll say this, I mean, to Mr. Jimmy's credit, he offered to the Corps of Engineers to, since it's been dry land for the last 50 years, to actually make it to where it was wet again and have ducks and everything in there. And the Corps objected to that, because to do that, you're gonna have to put a levee on both sides. So essentially, they wanted to stay wet, which hasn't been for 50 years. So he offered to make it back wet again. They said, well, you can't do that because you got to put a levee to hold the water in, and you would have to mitigate to put that levee. As crazy as that sounds.
It's a non-win situation.
Okay. Any further discussion? Mr. Jimmy? No?
Wait.
Yes?
Yes. One other thing that I don't understand, and we're mitigating an acre of land, which probably costs us $1,000, and then you gotta pay $85,000 to mitigate, or $45 or whatever it may be. It just don't sound right. The numbers just don't sound right to me. But anyway, yes, Daniel, we can use it if we put soccer fields and without no mitigation at all. It's dry right now. The only thing, if you want to put a building or a dugout on it, you have to mitigate that section of it, or that part of it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, time to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Congratulations, Mr. Otam. Number 42, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-009 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to carry forward balances of all remaining project in the 2017 operations and maintenance budget, and to make adjustments to the 2018 operations and maintenance budget for specific projects, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction and any and all said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Public one time, 2 times, 3 times. Any discussion from the council? Any discussion from the council? We're on number 42. Okay. Nothing? All right, you ready to vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Okay, the ayes?
Nays raising.
Ayes are,
Ayes raising.
okay, there's,
Ayes.
okay. Lorraine, Bourgeois, Otan, and me. Nays are Jones?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is this gonna affect some of these projects that are out there?
Hang on a second. Mr. Jimmy or Mr. Lasang? Wait, how did the vote turn out?
Wait,
4-4?
4-4.
Fails, 4-4, okay. Mr. Lorraine, go ahead.
yeah, I'm just asking to see if this is gonna affect some of the projects that are out there.
All it does is carry them forward into this year. Y'all went through this last year. I believe y'all did the same thing and voted it down, and then at the next meeting voted it back up. All this, it's just basically a bookkeeping thing to roll the project into the next calendar year. It's a technical accounting thing that we
Right,
have to do.
This was the bookkeeping one, I thought. Mr. LaFont?
Nobody explained it before.
I think we can excuse with 46.
Yeah, I think
That's what,
that's not the one that, take the other ones? Different project.
so I know, okay. Well, it failed 4-4. Since there was some confusion, that's why I kind of hesitated. I thought maybe they had some questions about this. Mr. Jimmy, I don't know if you want to try to put it on again next meeting, or it's your first opportunity, but
You can make a motion to reconsider if they want to revote.
a motion to reconsider, moved by Otan, second by Bourgeois. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0. Were you opposed, Ms. Bourgeois? Oh, you weren't opposed. Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent, so reconsider. Any further discussion, LaFont? You have your, all right. Otan.
Yeah, once again, if you read it in depth, it is just a bookkeeping, rolling a bunch of these projects, and it's a lot of important projects. So I understand where the confusion's at, so I certainly would ask that y'all support passing this one.
Okay. Ready, vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Can I get a motion to close? Moved by Bourgeois, second by Otan. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Mr. Otan, can you take over?
M, proposed ordinances. Number 43, proposed ordinance ordering and calling a special election to be held in Sales Tax District Number 4 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, authorize the levy of a sales and use tax therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Motion by Daniel Lorraine for administration. Number 44, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-013 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to carry forward a memorandum of agreement between Lafourche Parish Government, Community Action, and Louisiana Rehabilitation Services for pre-employment transitional services PETS program, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Jones for administration. Number 45, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-010 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to deobligate budget balances of all completed projects from the 2018 operations and maintenance budget, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Number 46, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-011 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to deobligate budget balances of all projects that have had no activity in 3 or more years from the 2018 operations and maintenance budget, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Number 47, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-014 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to move funds from fund balance for the settlement agreement between the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and the Lafourche Parish Government regarding the Choctaw Levee Project 18053, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Perillo for administration. Number 48, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-015 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to set up the budget for the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Go Mesa funds received by the federal government for 2018, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. It takes us to end resolutions. Can I have a motion for a 10-minute break? Got a motion by Councilman Perillo, second by Melvin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Take a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Oops, number 49. Resolutions. Resolution accepting the low quote of American Disposal LLC in the amount of $4,850 for contractor services related to the nuisance abatement ordinance number 3895 concerning the demolition of a condemned structure located at 17409 East Main Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354. Assessment number 0102290400 within Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Lafont.
Yes, I want to say something on that.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, this has been going on for a while, but he's supposed to start getting, knocking it down tomorrow. But what we're gonna do is approve this, and then he can get with the nuisance abatement people, and they, because if he decides to do it, well, they can work it out. But it needs to be approved.
I'm not following you, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I didn't follow what you said.
I forgot what I said. No, the guy that owns it, owns most of it, is supposed to start knocking it down soon, tomorrow, or whatever. So this has been dragging for a while, so what we're gonna do is approve it for the contractor to do it. But if he goes and does it, but he's gonna get with the people that are running the nuisance abatement
Okay.
to work it out. So he might do it on his own, but that's gonna be between him and them.
Well, after we
Okay.
approve it, how long before they start?
Oh, it takes a while.
Okay.
First,
It takes a while.
Mr.
we,
Lasang?
Jim would have to sign and approve the contract, so if y'all approve it, he'll just wait and work with that guy till he gets it done. If he gets it done, he doesn't sign the contract, and he just dies, and if he doesn't get it done, he signs the contract and they tear it down.
Do y'all know, I don't remember this ever, like, y'all doing this before. Do y'all normally do it this way? Maybe I don't remember.
No, I don't know what it.
Put it ahead of time?
Because this guy, it's because this guy's been saying he's gonna tear it down and has gone back and forth.
Yeah, but this has been going on for a while, so we really need to get something done. And he says he wants to do it, so by doing it, we're gonna approve the contractor. But then in the meantime, he might get it done like he said he would, so,
Okay. Shane?
right, Shani?
Shaney Hill, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. Normally what happens is, it's already been through the bid process, so y'all are just approving for us to utilize that contractor to tear down the structure. He'll have to come, the contractor will have to come in and get demo permits and stuff. So there's still a little time that he'll have, you know, if he wants to try and get it down over Memorial Day weekend. And then it kind of depends on the contractor's schedule as to getting it processed and torn down. So he'll still have a little bit leeway time if he chooses to do it himself.
Wait.
But I think he's been telling Mr. Daniel that he was going to do it himself. And I actually went out there on Monday, and the back part of the house has fallen in. And it looks like maybe they took a few boards off of the porch, but nothing else has been done.
Mr. Lasang, you were?
Well, that's not exactly correct. When this is approved, he will have to either tear it down or President Cantrell signs the notice of proceed and it'll get torn down. See, right now, he can just haul back and forth. The permits, he can't get the permits and everything. He doesn't have a contract until Mr. Cantrell signs it and gives him a notice to proceed.
Okay.
Ms. Lorraine, you had something else?
No, that's.
Okay. That was it. Thank you, Shani.
Thank you.
Okay, any further, Mr. Bourgeois?
Yeah, I want to say that as a general rule, I tend to be against delaying these things because there's a lot of people that are going to say that they're going to do it and what have you. And when you get a structure that the parish is involved, I mean, Ms. Hill, what have you, I mean, it's really a bad structure. I've been in, this is the business that I'm in, and people will say they'll do it, and they'll do it, and they'll do it, and by the time it comes to this point, they've gotten certified mail, they've gotten all kinds of stuff, they've promised, they've promised, they've promised. And what it is that, I mean, I don't know this gentleman, he could be a nice guy, he could be a great guy, but obviously the neighborhood, the neighbors, children in the area, I mean, it's a nuisance, which means it's a hazard. And as a general rule, I oppose kind of delaying these things, and I urge everybody to vote in favor of this, because if you don't put pressure on people, they're not gonna do it. I mean, they don't wanna spend money to tear down a structure that's no good anyhow and what have you. And I think it's imperative, if we're gonna increase the look of Lafourche Parish, if we're gonna increase the way property values are in Lafourche Parish, and just to clean up our parish, I think we kinda have to be sticklers on this and push forward on this, because the gentleman can do it on his own, but he's gotta have pressure. And if not, the contractor's gonna do it, and we're cleaning up Lafourche Parish.
Well, the reason why I was surprised is because I thought normally when it comes before the council, that's it, it's that we're doing it. I didn't know that the person still had some leeway, but that's why I'd asked if that's the norm, and it's not the norm, Mr. Lasang said. Okay, so, any further discussion? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Okay. Number 50, resolution requesting Lafourche. Okay. Number 50 is pulled. Number 51, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish Council and the Parish Administration to submit names on individuals interested in being a member of an economic development committee. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by, moved by Councilman Otamp. Excuse me. Second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? I think this is obvious. Why I wanted to do this, I did speak with Mr. Cantrell and Mr. Lasang about it. This and another item a little bit later, I've been contacted by people, especially after the agenda came out, saying they were interested in serving. I don't know if any of you have been contacted about this one or the tax reform bill, the tax reform item, but I don't have the details as to how to work it out. I just feel like we should be, we just need to do something economic development-wise in the parish, and I think we see being not diversified, that causes problems, as we've seen with our tax collection. So I'd appreciate you all to support this, and then we can work out the details a little bit later. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Councilman Grow being absent. Thank you. Number 52, resolution requesting the parish president to consider entering an agreement with an engineer to create a storm drainage design manual for Lafourche Parish, similar to the storm drainage design manual utilized in Terrebonne Parish. Can someone move for me? Moved by Otan, second by Lafont. Any discussion?
Yeah, what you want on this?
Okay, so we briefly talked about it a few minutes ago. Terrebonne Parish has something that's called a storm drainage manual. They have some guidelines that are better, I think, and in talking to some of the engineers, that are better than what we're currently doing. It's not a real expensive document from what I've heard now, which Terrebonne paid years ago. It's online. You can take a look at it. You can access it online. I just think that as a parish, because of these problems that we keep having in these neighborhoods, unless we change our guidelines, our regulation, unless we take a proactive role in correcting these problems that we all know we have, we're not going to get anywhere. So I don't know the answer. I'm wanting an engineer to put something together.
Well, you got a document right here that was put together in 2012, parish-wide, Lafourche Parish Master Drainage Plan.
That's the $1 million paperweight, right?
That's $800,000 right here.
Right. I did discuss that.
Where are we going to keep getting the money at?
No,
Let's go by this.
This is different from that.
No.
This is different from that. And plus, the year that was done, for that to still be even a relevant document, it would have had to be updated with every development. That was never utilized. And I understand what was the plan to be accomplished on that. Now, and when I ran, one of my reasons for running was because that was just $1 million paperweight. This is something totally different.
You looking to give some engineers some work to do this, and then that's nothing. He could come up with any plan you want. Are you going to have the funding to go address the plan? Probably not.
No, this isn't the funding to address the plan. This is guidelines that our developers can go by. If you look at the document on Terrebonne Parish's website, it is different from this master drainage plan. You'd have to really just take a look at that. It's changing in what we require to develop. It's not the master drainage plan. It's required different things.
Go ahead.
Even down to having, if they can't do certain retention or detention ponds, that they put money aside so that buy pumps later on. Or there's better way to manage our water. And the plan would probably take $20,000-$25,000. I did meet Mr. Cantrell and Mr. Lasang. They seemed to be receptive of it and understood what I was trying to say.
And the difference with Lafourche and Terrebonne is millions. They got a hell of a lot more millions of dollars than what we got.
I understand that. This is changing how we develop Lafourche. This is not creating another $1 million paperweight. This is changing our rules and regulations. We have got to, gentlemen, we have had so many problems, and we just kicked around not approving a subdivision because we're not sure that we're handling the water correctly. We just have to make sure and do everything that we can to, go ahead, Mr. Lorraine.
You can do whatever you want, you're still gonna have most of the problems. You just don't have the money. You can put all the money in the parish into drainage, and it's not,
Well,
you
that's
don't
what
have
I'm
it.
telling you. We won't have the,
You don't
I
have
don't
it.
have enough money to buy pumps to solve the problems now, but if we develop more correctly and develop properly, we won't have to buy 6 million pumps. It will decrease the cost to the parish. We won't be inheriting these problems if we do things just a little bit better. I don't know as to how. That's why I'm asking for the administration to consider getting with an
Well-
engineer to do that. What we're doing right now is broken. It does not work.
It's just a simple request. It's up to them.
Exactly. And if they don't do it, they just don't. Mr. Lasang?
I think to clear it up a little bit, with the master drainage plan, which is $800,000 paperweight, doesn't even address, I think, what Ms. Placido wants to address, and she's talking about, like, I think, will be more like developments and retention, detention ponds, and maybe them contributing to a pumping system and outfall canals and cleanage, and some commitments in right-of-ways and servitudes over time. Not something like the master drainage plan addressed, which is, there's nothing wrong with a master drainage plan, but that one just, well.
Well,
I'm
and
not
they haven't
saying
never been updated. It's useless at this point, but, or close to it. Thank you, Mr. Lasang. I appreciate that. Mr. Melvin? Oh,
Some more?
go ahead, Mr. Lorraine.
I just want to see what Lafourche said. He said this one didn't work.
And it's a totally different document. If you go on Terrebonne Parish, I referenced it here because I thought a couple of you would want to go and check and see what I was referring to. Apples and oranges compared to what you're looking at, like as Mr. Lasang explained. Mr. Melvin?
Yes, I support this because it's just to consider at looking to make things better, streamlined. We continuing to see some of the same issues come up again in some of the newer neighborhoods, so we can't just say it's old engineering or old land sinking or what have you. It's brand new stuff we're encountering. So there seems to be a problem because I'm getting phone calls on it. So I support this wholeheartedly.
Mr. Bourgeois? Yes, Mr. Lorraine, we know that. Mr. Bourgeois?
I apologize. I'm not as familiar with Terrebonne Parish as I am St. Charles Parish. St. Charles Parish has got an excellent program as well. And I mean, if we're going to do that, I mean, Terrebonne is our neighbor to the west, but St. Charles Parish is our neighbor to the east. And Terrebonne has several bayous that drain into the Gulf of Mexico and what have you. St. Charles Parish has got a levee. It's got the Mississippi River. It doesn't even have a place to do that, and it's managing runoff that it has to get over levees and all of that. They have a really excellent program with their retention ponds, with development and all of that, because they have a bigger problem than we can even imagine. And having done extensive work and all of that, I'd propose an amendment to add, you know, similar to Terrebonne and/or St. Charles Parish.
Well, the thing is, why we can't take Terrebonne parishes and do that here. It would have to be looked into by an engineer, and Lafourche's plan, I'm not wanting it to be, I didn't say modeled off of Terrebonne or to duplicate Terrebonne. I said similar to that, just so people could go and look at what I was referencing. So, I mean, the engineer would decide Lafourche's unique problems and the landscape and the geography that we're dealing with and create a plan for us, for our unique situation. But, I mean, if you have a motion to amend, you want to leave your motion to amend?
Yeah, I want to amend it to, you know, where it says Terrebonne, utilized in Terrebonne, and I want to put and.
Can you write that for me, please, so Ms. Carleen? You want to amend it too? Ms. Carleen, could you read the amendment?
Resolution requesting Parish President to consider entering to an agreement with an engineer to create a storm drainage design manual for Lafourche Parish similar to the storm drainage design manual utilized in Terrebonne Parish and St. Charles Parish, or in Terrebonne and St. Charles Parishes. So, and St. Charles Parishes is the amendment.
Okay, so amendment is proposed. Can I get a second on the amendment? Second by Mr. Melvin. Can we vote on the amendment only? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. So, the item as amended. Is that correct, Ms. Carleen? The item as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bourgeois, you had something else?
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Mr. Jimmy, I really hope you consider doing this for us. I think it would be something for you to hang your hat on as to making great strides to correct some of these problems that we're having in the parish. So I hope you really consider it. Again, for those out there or watching, this request has no teeth. The parish president can do with it what he wants. I just hope he considers doing it. All right, number 53. Resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish Council and the parish administration to submit names of individuals interested in being members of a tax reform committee. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by Bourgeois, second by Otin. Any discussion? Well, this is, again, one of the same things that, since before I was a council member, we know how high Lafourche Parish taxes are. I know before this, from Port Fourchon all the way to City of Thibodaux, people have complained and talked about our tax structure and how high everything is. I don't know what this, I know people have talked about a committee previously. I don't know how it's going to look. I just would know a lot of people have come to me prior to this being on the agenda, and give everyone an opportunity to submit names of people that may have come to you. I already have 6 names, so I don't know who else has what. I'm not putting any, I don't think we'll have to put any limits on it. I don't think we're going to have people beating down the door to be on a tax reform committee, but I actually ought to consider supporting it. Again, this is to try to make some proactive steps to make the parish a little bit better. And that's it. I think it's self-explanatory otherwise. Any further discussion? Mr.
I
Lorraine?
just want to make one request.
Sure.
Every time somebody comes to that podium with a fire district or whatever, ask them if they can afford to cut their taxes. Make that a point to ask them and see what answer you're going to get.
Well, Mr. Lorraine, you're welcome to put your light on, and you can ask them. You don't have to wait for anyone else to do it.
I'm going to ask them from here on out, because I've asked many of them, and you ain't going to find one that's going to say, don't cut me, cut him.
Well,
And that's what you're going to get.
I spoke with Mr. Lasang, and he had actually talked about a couple of areas where there may be a little bit too much taxes.
There's a lot of taxes. We're the highest taxes in the state.
Look, it's not going to be an easy fix, but it's time for discussion.
But don't forget, don't cut me, cut him.
I understand that, but it's just time for some discussion. I don't know what'll come
Call
of
for
it.
question.
Mr. LaFont? All right. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801 with Grow being absent. Number 54, resolution recognizing that Mr. Malcolm Landry and Miss Irene Zarang did attend the April 11, 2018 Louisiana chapter of the American Planning Association 4-hour training program. Can someone move for me? Moved by Melvin, second by Otam. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801 with Grow being absent. Thank you, Ms. Pat. Number 55, resolution appointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 1 Board. Moved by Mr. Paraloo. You got a name?
Yes, I happily submit the name of Lester Griffin.
Lester Griffin, submitted by Paraloo, second by LaFont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Congratulations, Mr. Griffin. 56, resolution appointing one member of the Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission, moved by Councilman Melvin. Who you got?
I'm happy to appoint Ms. Christine Strickland.
Ms. Christine Strickland, nominated by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Perilou. Everyone's happy to nominate. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Happy that it passed 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Number 57, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire District Number 8 Board. Can someone move for me? Moved by Melvin, second by Perilou. Moved by Melvin. I nominate Ms. Cheryl Hebert, who's currently serving and glad to be reappointed. Second by Perilou. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, DOTD, to dig, clean the ditches, culverts, and catch basins along Highway 3185 in Thibodaux, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Who's moving for Grow? Moved by Lafont, second by Perilou. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Grow being absent. Number 59, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government Parish and the Town of Lockport for permit services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Otas, second by? Second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Otas.
So I haven't personally talked to the administration for the town of Lockport, and I actually don't have a particular preference, whether it's South Central Planning or the parish government. I think both have their pros and cons. But I will say that I think it would be great to have everyone under one unified command, because neighbors should have the same requirements. So I'm glad to see that this would streamline and put at least the community of Lockport in line with their immediate neighbors, Lockport Heights, et cetera.
Mr. Lafont?
I just got one question. What is the cost to the parish for taking in Lockport versus what we weren't paying before? If somebody can answer that.
Mr. Bro?
Okay, you on? All right. Actually, there's no cost to the parish. The way it's going to be set up is the parish, any permits that the town of Lockport is going to take in, the parish is going to get 75%, the town of Lockport is going to keep 25%. So there won't be any cost to the parish. We're actually, when they hand out permits, we're actually going to make money.
And who's paying that? Who's going to pay their cost for the software?
They're going to pay it.
They're going to pay it?
Yeah.
So they're going to continue to pay the software cost?
They're going to continue paying the software. They're going to come here a couple of times, and we're going to go to Lockport and actually show them how to use the software. They've been having the software, but hasn't been using it, you know.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some training. Other than that, it's not going to cost the parish anything.
And what about additional insurance? Are we going to be covered? Or are we only going to be responsible for the permits that they accepted from day forward, or anything that they did previously? Are we responsible for that?
No.
So we won't be responsible for anything that was previously done?
No.
All right.
We're going to be responsible from the day, whenever this goes through, and we take over in Lockport, any permits issued from that point forward.
All right.
I have a couple of questions. What our license for software, what percentage are they paying on that license cost?
Lockport, permit fee or?
You said software they're paying for.
For my permit now, it's running Lockport around $250 a month is what it's going to cost them.
I guess I'm worried about, I know they came from South Central Planning. I'm on that, the MPO board when this was voted. The resolution was passed with them leaving South Central. And I'm worried if we're going to have some Cabela's issues. I guess, has anyone checked into that? You know, they were paying one amount. When they come here, they don't need to employ these people. So it's a great cost benefit to come here and just to have the parish absorb it without them having to pay
Well, right now,
market value,
they're paying, right now they're paying around $900 a month, regardless whether they issue a permit or not. So it's actually going to save the town of Lockport a lot of money.
No, I understand that, but I guess I'm just worried about Cabela's and if there's if there's any issue with that, because I know they have their flat fee based on their population, and then they pay per permit a little bit, and they don't pay what, you know, the larger communities will pay, because I think I looked at their numbers last year, maybe it was two permits, or, I don't remember exactly, but I'm just curious if Cabela's comes in to play, but you don't think so?
No. I mean, if they don't, right now, whether they issue permits or not, they're still costing them a flat fee. The other, coming through with the parish, they're making 25% if, you know, if they issue a permit. So the only thing it's gonna cost them per month is that, the My Permits now. So they're gonna actually, it can't cost them more money than what they're paying now. It's gonna actually cost them a lot less.
No, and I know, that's why I'm worried. That's why my question comes up, because of how much less it's costing. So, Mr. Paraloo.
Yeah, Tony, we talked about it before the meeting earlier. I just want to go on record. Lately, the parish employees have been cut down to 35 hours. Is that correct in your department as well?
Yes.
Okay. So I understand that by taking up this extra venture, that you're going to be collecting 75% of the total permit cost to the customer, but it will cost the parish in man hours and time involved in doing this. So a twofold question, I mean, is the 75% going to compensate for the time and effort that it takes with expenditures to go to Lockport and come back and process the permits? And second part of the question, is 35 hours per week adequate to accomplish this new endeavor?
Yes, because now I actually do the inspections from North Raceland down to Fouchon. So I pass through Lockport on a daily basis. Lockport doesn't do more than maybe 2 to 5 permits a month on a good month. So it's not like we're going to be going there, you know, a whole lot where it's going to cause the pass. And I mean, it's not going to cause the pass anything actually, because we're making 75% of each permit. So.
And what's the average cost of a permit?
It depends what they're doing.
Like for a shed in somebody's backyard?
You might be looking at $200 permit, up to $600 permit. And then on a shed, you're looking at maybe 3 inspections. So, you know, we pass through Lockport on a regular basis. So it's not going to take a whole lot of extra time. And as far as having the time to get it done, we're going to have time to get it done. We just fit it in like.
Okay, so you
like
have
we do
idle
now.
hours right now that you can fit that work in?
Not that we have idle hours, but we could fit it in.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that it's not going to cost us anything.
It's not going to cost us anything. You're going to make, you'll be making money. It's not going to cost you anything.
Because, I mean, I don't want to hear later that, you know, permits is the only department working 50 hours a week because they have a higher workload all of a sudden. You know, that's what I'm getting at.
Not picking up Lockport,
All right.
trust me.
Thank you, Tony.
Mr. Lafont.
Have we offered it to the other municipalities to lower their costs and join in, like Thibodeau and Golden Meadow? I think Daniel said the town of Golden Meadow said they didn't want to get away from South Central Planning.
Correct.
Has Thibodeau been offered?
I don't see, no, I've never spoke with Thibodeau about it. I don't see Thibodeau getting out of their own.
Right. Look, and I'm a fan of South Central Planning. I wish the parish would be, however, we not. But, so that's my point. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lafont, Councilman Lafont, because I think we could have saved money. The only thing I want to ask, I thought we contracted out inspections. Am I mistaken? I thought we contracted someone to do the inspections.
No, we do the inspections
Every inspection is done in-house?
in-house.
Okay. All right. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, once again, I just want, so the town has discussed this pretty extensively over the course of, same as the parish has. And so, once again, I'm just asking for y'all's support to bring in some more of my constituents to where I don't have a few that's under one umbrella and some under another, and they all be uniform.
Lafont?
Is LDS don't they hire a second party to inspect?
Who's that?
Is it LDS, DSLD?
DSLD, no.
So we doing the inspections now? At one time, did they get a second?
We do approximately 95% of their inspections. They do have a third party that is doing a few of the houses, but we do about 95% of DSLD's work.
Okay, I thought they had somebody doing some of their work.
They do have a third party that does a few.
All right, thank you.
And they're the only ones using a third party?
No, you have a couple of people still using them, not many. Because whether they go with third party or not, it still has to be signed off by Lafourche Parish's CBO. She has jurisdiction over permitting throughout the parish, whether it's a third party or,
So by
us doing it.
signing off, she goes there and inspects herself?
We actually do go behind
Okay.
third parties, yes.
All right. Anything else? All right, let's vote. All in favor? Any opposed? What? Okay. Any opposed? Who was that, Lafont? 6 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstain, and 1 absent in Grow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Motion number 60, motion to appoint the Daily Comment as the official journal for the Lafourche Parish Council for the period from July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019 at the rate of $5.50 per square of 100 words. Can someone move for me? Moved by Bourgeois, second by? Second by Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 7-0-1 with Lafont nay, 7-1-1 with Lafont nay and Grow absent. P, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' reports, presentations, and/or updates. Anything, Mr. Jimmy, Mr. Lasang? P,
To go over this reports that I'd handed out to y'all right now?
it's up to you. What do you think?
Okay, you have 3 reports that Ms. Carlene had handed out. One with the binder clip. This is a new requirement by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor. I'm not going to get into it because it's mundane and fairly useless, but they make us do it to show the variance in the accounts and everything, which we do, and you have to comply where you can't get out of compliance when your variance is too high, but we do that on a regular basis. It's just something that in the next.
Which one you looking at? Which
The one with the
referring-
binder clip on it.
Okay.
That one there is just something that we have to supply to the council. That's the legislative auditor.
That's annual?
I think it's gonna be quarterly.
Okay.
It's something that's gonna make the cost of the audit go up. We went through this with stagnant last year. It's just gonna be an added cost, which we can handle it with, we're a large enough organization. It's gonna put small municipalities like Lockport or something like that in a bind, the requirements they have. The one with the other one, with the red topics that's the gross sales receipts and all, how the sheriff takes his part out, this part, how much is not collected, this, that, and the other, and that's a lot of information. The one that's relevant is the other little plain one with the says solid waste comparisons of sales tax receipts. The first, and you also have road sales tax A and road sales tax 2 in there. As you can see, solid waste, this is the elephant in the room that we've been talking about for 2 years. It's not getting better. That's the bad news. The good news is it's not getting worse. But you can see where we got 8.2 million in 13 and 14 and 14 and 15, and then it went down almost $1 million in 15, 16, then down almost $1 million in 16, 17, and this fiscal year, if you look at 1.5, it'll probably be about the same as last year, which is still 1.8 down from a few years ago. And this is where we have a big problem with the $2.5 million shortfall. Now, as y'all know, the legislature moved to where y'all will have the ability to pass to allow the voters to vote on raising the tax from 0.7 to 1%. It'll go to the voters, and it'll go to the voters if y'all vote for it to go to the voters. Otherwise, it would stay at 0.7. It'll stay at 0.7 if y'all don't let it go to the voters, and if the voters vote it down, it'll stay at 0.7 anyway. And I did talk with Cam and Lisa today about whether it would be 5 or 6 votes necessary. I think it's 5, and I think they agreed today too, because y'all wouldn't be voting to increase the tax. Y'all would just be voting to allow the voters to vote on increasing the tax. You need 6 when y'all increase the millage, y'all roll the millage forward, because y'all are making the decision to increase and the voters don't have that option. So that's y'all call in a few days, or a few weeks, whatever. And the other one's just the reports on road sales tax. A is kind of steady. It's been kind of steady for a long time. It's never been great with the amount of roads they have for the size of the district. And 2, road sales tax 2 was always very lucrative until the recent years where it's gone down. So it is what it is, and we got to deal with it, and we have to deal with it in next year's budget. One big problem we're going to have with next year's budget, even if y'all vote for the sales tax to go to the voters, when we make the budget, we can't budget projecting the increase in revenue. We're going to have to budget with the 0.7% in there, and that's going to be difficult. And another thing that's going to be difficult is at the end of the year, if we're going to have enough time, if it was to pass, November 4th, I believe, is election day. If it were to pass, will we have enough time to make necessary, we'd be in the amendment stage then to get the budget, quote, right, where y'all would still have all y'all input into it, because if it wouldn't go till later on, then it would be, you can only do supplementals with the parish president proposing them. So if it passes the voters on November 4th, I think we probably would have time to, well, y'all would be the ones at that time making the amendments. The budget would be with y'all, but you would have time to do it with the increased revenue that we would get if it passes again.
Mr. Melvin?
Yeah, Tommy, thank you. I just wanted to be clear that, while we've been looking at it for 2 years, it's been, decreasing since 1996, correct? I mean, the garbage, because the bond attorney predicted it would be broke by 2016, and we
It didn't. He made his prediction on a number of years was correct, but it really happened in the last few years. It really got catastrophic in the last few years.
Right, with the oil, but my point is, this didn't just happen over the last 2 years. This has been going on a while.
No, it's been going, it got really noticeable about 5 years ago, really noticeable that it was going to come.
Bless you.
And something had to be done, and it's, we were unfortunate that the price of oil went down and royalty went down so fast, so much, and then, it was just very unfortunate for us, but we did get the BP money, but that was fortunate, but it's unfortunate that it's gone now, and it's going to solid waste, so it is what it is.
While I'm looking at this, the other day when we were emailed the revenue, I guess PDF, we were emailed, I had asked the person emailing it if they could send me the actual Excel sheet so I could do some things graphically. I prefer to look at things visually, graphically. I never got a response. Is there any way you can send me that, just so I don't have to punch in all the numbers again on the Excel sheet? I know it had to be created from an Excel sheet, I'm assuming. I don't think anyone would.
You want these sheets, you want the PDF version of it?
The revenue, I would like.
As you can see, solid waste, I mean, this is the elephant in the room that we've been talking about for 2 years. It's not getting better. That's the bad news. The good news is it's not getting worse. But you can see where we got 8.2 million in 13 and 14 and 14 and 15, and then it went down almost $1 million in 15, 16, then down almost $1 million in 16, 17, and this fiscal year, if you look at 1.5, it'll probably be about the same as last year, which is still 1.8 down from a few years ago. And this is where we have a big problem with the $2.5 million shortfall. Now, as y'all know, the legislature moved to where y'all will have the ability to pass to allow the voters to vote on raising the tax from 0.7 to 1%. It'll go to the voters, and it'll go to the voters if y'all vote for it to go to the voters. Otherwise, it would stay at 0.7. It'll stay at 0.7 if y'all don't let it go to the voters, and if the voters vote it down, it'll stay at 0.7 anyway. And I did talk with Cam and Lisa today about whether it would be 5 or 6 votes necessary. I think it's 5, and I think they agreed today too, because y'all wouldn't be voting to increase the tax. Y'all would just be voting to allow the voters to vote on increasing the tax. You need 6 when y'all increase the millage, y'all roll the millage forward, because y'all are making the decision to increase and the voters don't have that option. So that's y'all call in a few days, or a few weeks, whatever. And the other one's just the reports on road sales tax. A is kind of steady. It's been kind of steady for a long time. It's never been great with the amount of roads they have for the size of the district. And 2, road sales tax 2 was always very lucrative until the recent years where it's gone down. So it is what it is, and we got to deal with it, and we have to deal with it in next year's budget. One big problem we're going to have with next year's budget, even if y'all vote for the sales tax to go to the voters, when we make the budget, we can't budget projecting the increase in revenue. We're going to have to budget with the 0.7% in there, and that's going to be difficult. And another thing's going to be difficult is at the end of the year, if we're going to have enough time, if it was to pass, November 4th, I believe is election day, if it were to pass, will we have enough time to make necessary, we'd be in the amendment stage then to get the budget, quote, right, where y'all would still have all y'all input into it, because if it wouldn't go till later on, then it would be, you can only do supplementals with the parish president proposing them. So if it passes the voters on November 4th, I think we probably would have time to, well, y'all would be the ones at that time making the amendments. The budget would be with y'all, but you would have time to do it with the increased revenue that we would get if it passes again.
Mr. Melvin?
Yeah, Tommy, thank you. I just wanted to be clear that, while we've been looking at it for 2 years, it's been, decreasing since 1996, correct? I mean, the garbage, because the bond attorney predicted it would be broke by 2016, and
It didn't. He made his prediction on a number of years was correct, but it really happened in the last few years. It really got catastrophic the last few years.
Right, with the oil, but my point is, this didn't just happen over the last 2 years. This has been going on a while.
No, it's been going, it got really noticeable about 5 years ago, really noticeable that it was going to come.
Bless you.
And something had to be done, and it's, we were unfortunate that the price of oil went down and royalty went down so fast, so much, and then, it was just very unfortunate for us, but we did get the BP money, but that was fortunate, but it's unfortunate that it's gone now, and it's going to solid waste, so it is what it is.
While I'm looking at this, the other day when we were emailed the revenue, I guess PDF, we were emailed, I had asked the person emailing it if they could send me the actual Excel sheet so I could do some things graphically, I prefer to look at things visually, graphically. I never got a response. Is there any way you can send me that, just so I don't have to punch in all the numbers again on the Excel sheet? I know it had to be created from an Excel sheet, I'm assuming. I don't think anyone would.
You want these sheets, you want the PDF version of
The
it?
revenue, I would like.
Solid waste. I never said it could be used for solid waste. Administration's position always was, we need to fund solid waste, and the tax is the way to fund it. Unfortunately, we didn't approach the tax quickly enough, properly enough, because we assumed that we could, incorrectly assumed that we could raise it with the council raising it from 0.7 to 1%. That was not allowable. And then not to say that y'all would have done it anyway. So we couldn't do that. And we went through all the gyrations it took, and now we're here to an election on November 4th, and we got $3.5 million from the BP fund that has gone to this. And the only way we can get it is the tax or general fund and royalty, which you take that and you're going to have, You did probably have enough to do it.
The administration, you brought all the employees here when we had a meeting. And it said, as soon as this solid waste tax be back on the ballot, that it was gonna be reinstated 40 hours. And it was cut because we had to fund money to solid waste. And now that came out the administration mouth. And you, the one that said it.
No. It was cut to fund the other things that y'all it was cut to fund the other things y'all reduced. Copier contracts, service contracts, we had zero to renew those contracts. Zero. So within each department where we made some cuts. And listen, we haven't replaced hardly any employees. Bridge tenders we've replaced that we had to, some key people, but other than that, we're down some significant number of personnel, and in most instances, it's going well. Mr. Bro lost one in his department. They're working with 35 hours and doing more work and staying on top of it. Other in administration, we had a paralegal left. Everything's working fine. Everybody's putting in a little bit more. And we're using that money to pay. We just renewed a copy contract yesterday, I believe. It's just stuff that has to be done and has to be funded, or I don't know how we function without it. We'll have enough money to function, but what good does it do to just function if we can't do projects and stuff like that too? We're working with about as few personnel, and I will say this, the employees, from what I see, are handling it pretty well. Yes, it hurts some, but I mean, we're trying our best, and it's a bad economy right now. It's bad for everybody. It's worse down the bayou than it is up the bayou. But we've all been through this. Y'all all old enough to be in there. I mean, I lived this thing, and it's at least looks like it stopped getting worse, and maybe even picking up a little bit. You do see people hiring and stuff like that, and that's a good thing.
Still said, you should sit right here with the employees, and you was cut for that reason. You cut employees and you gave yourself almost a $10,000 raise. So until that presentation, you ought to be able to can itemize that.
Mr. Melvin?
Yeah, Tommy, I don't envy y'all position. I don't envy our position in regards to this garbage thing, because we know it's a monster, and it's been coming and coming and coming for a long time. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not an accountant, so I do respect people who can work these numbers, okay? But it seems to me, just from a person who's responsible for the employees, because we owe it to the employees and to the public, that there's got to be a way to quantify some sort of stuff to see why we're saving. Because if you're cutting back, what's the use of cutting back if you can't trace your savings? It's like a budget in a household. I'm just thinking small potatoes on my budget on my household, but if we're going to cut back on groceries and gas and some credit cards, this, that, and the other, we got to be able to see on a spreadsheet, okay, well, what's the windfall? What are we saving? And where can we put it? That's just my mindset. So I understand it's a pickle, man, and I'm not trying to get on you. I'm just...
If you realize a 5-hour cut is 12% approximately, which in a department is not a large amount of money. In planning, a lot of equipment was taken out and stuff like that. People, different departments need trucks and stuff like that. And when all those budget amendments were made last year and things were cut, there was things that were impossible to operate. I will say that right now. We could not have had some copier contracts renewed. That was one that was blatantly obvious. Like, how do we function without this? And the only way was, there was nowhere to get the money. There was nowhere. The reduction in hours helped with that, and we're still functioning. And like I say now, an example is, and Tony's here, with a plan reviewer leaving and them taking up and picking up the slack and fixing and what they need to do and covering hours, that's working fairly well. So you freed up some funds. If they need to work more hours, we have the funds to pay them. If they, because they're down one person when you only have, what, 5? But in the field, 3, and Adrian helps a little bit, and she's gonna pick up some of the slack. I mean, it's just, is what it is. And administration is, when the paralegal left, there was only 4 people there to help there. So you saved a large percentage there.
Okay, so, thank you for that. Let's move on. R, council reports, presentations, updates, and/or question number 63, Mr. Reggie Bagala, legislative auditor, internal auditor, to present a report. Mr. Bagala. Mr. Nooney, could you take over for a minute?
Go ahead, Reggie.
Okay. My report tonight is going to focus on culvert purchasing a resident charged for work completed by parish employees and equipment, parish material used and placed on said property for work ordered and performed by this administration on Mia Drive. On February 2nd, 2018, I requested from administration all DPW work orders from the last quarter of 2017 through the end of January 2018. In your packet, you'll see a copy of the email. Of the hundreds of work orders that I went through, several were flagged. However, there was one that looked particularly troublesome. While following along, please understand that I'm reporting this situation in chronological order, but was discovered from most recent work to the latest work performed. This picture is and you'll have it in your packet, is this is the first work order that was submitted to install culverts and catch basins on Mia Drive outfall ditch. While there are no specifics as to the scope of the project, the POs and Munis notes refer to 60 foot of culverts, materials to construct catch basins, and 3 culvert bands. In the packet provided to the council, I've included some copies of POs for the cost of materials to complete this project. On August 31st, 2017, a breakdown of costs for this job was sent to the resident, informing him that the cost would be $2,358.20. The cost per foot for these culverts was $27.10 a foot. It was classified as an outfall ditch, and why was the resident charged? Here's a copy of the check from the resident for the work to be done on the ditch. The next in your packet, the work on the first phase was completed on October the 19th, 2017, entailing 72 man-hours and 48 equipment hours. Now, throughout all the documents I've presented so far, there are inconsistencies as to what kind of drainage situation we're dealing with. Some say outfall, some say ditch. Either way, the resident was charged for some of the parish costs incurred. Nowhere are these charges for installation, fill material, equipment, man-hours, etc. At the same time, there was never a permit application provided to me, nor to my knowledge was one ever applied for. It is very troubling that this resident would be charged for some of the material for a ditch that was referred to as an outfall and just a ditch. Since the resident was charged for the material at parish cost, one would think that this would fall under requiring the need for a permit if such an action were permissible. If this were truly an outfall ditch or canal, the parish would have incurred all the cost. So let's look at the permitting process and procedures and the application process. The culvert, catch basin, and bridge permit application are very clear. Quote, all persons wishing to construct and/or install culverts within or upon any public drainage ditch or canal located within the parish acquired by the parish by purchase, exchange, donation, expropriation, or prescription. And I'm going to go through a few of the highlighted, this is from the website, the highlighted application. Number 1 talks about prior to the purchase, the designee shall file the application, the appropriate application. Number 4 refers to culverts and fill material must be purchased by the property owner as per specs from the parish. Number 5 refers to installation by the property owner. Number 9, the installation of culverts shall be the responsibility of the property owner for landscaping culverts. Number 11, the landowner shall provide the culvert and cover material for culverts other than material dug from the ditch where the culverts are being installed. On November the 14th, 2017, a letter was sent to the same constituent, and it said, quote, "As per your conversation with Parish President Cantrell regarding the culvert and bands needed for 120 Mia Drive, below is a breakdown of the estimated cost for the culvert and bands needed to install at your address. The estimated cost for another 40 feet of culverts and bands was $1,288.80. Again, there is no mention of outfall or any permit required for this work. Again, nowhere are there any cost estimates for dirt installation, permits, permit requirements, etc. Nor is there any mention of this classification designed as an outfall ditch or canal. More importantly, there is no mention of erosion in any of the documents for this project. Here's a copy of the check dated November 20th, 2017, in the amount of $1,288.80, timestamp received and deposited. This was the second work order dated November 28th, 2017. Submitted to install culverts on Mia Drive ditch, notes under the constituent's name, quote, Jimmy Cantrell for Ray Ordorn, unquote. This work order is noted approved by Jimmy C. on November 29th, 2017. Is to install, quote, is to install 40 feet of 36-inch round culvert. Mr. Ordorn paid $1,288.80 to Lafourche Parish government for the culvert and 2 bands needed. The work order is to order the culverts and bands needed to install, LPG employees to install culverts and bands, haul dirt as needed to cover the culverts, and to level the area where the install is done. On November 14th, 2017, on the November 14th, 2017 invoice, the constituent was billed $27.10 a foot for the culverts. Yet the PO to pay for the culverts is only $23 a foot. He was billed $27.10 and the parish only was charged $23 a foot. Same with the bands, the constituent was charged $102.40 a band, yet the parish was only billed $25 a band, thus overcharging the constituent $318.80. I did figure out where the price was derived for phase 2. The same prices used for the culvert per foot and bands costs were extended to phase 2 that were charged in phase 1. This was billed to the constituent before the PO or the work order was ever issued. This is the work order on the second phase as completed on January 25th, 2018, entailing 14 man-hours and 14 equipment hours. That was the timeline for the work completed. Now I'll give a brief summation as to the discovery email and communication trail that led to this. Let's go back to the February 5th, 2018, back to February 5th, 2018, when I requested all the work orders from the last quarter of 2017 through January of 2018. A copy of that email is at the beginning of your packets. On April 5th, 2018, I sent a follow-up email to administration asking for all pertinent documents regarding the work done on this Mia Drive property, as well as any additional work performed on this or any adjoining property, payments, permits, permit applications, materials, etc. On April 10th, 2018, I was emailed information on phase 2, the work order, a letter invoicing the constituent, deposit information, a copy of the check and materials is needed for phase 2, which y'all saw already. In your packet copy, at the April 10th meeting, 2018 council meeting, the parish president referenced 2 DA opinions justifying the culvert installation on Mia Drive. Council Chair Sposito asked for a copy of the DA opinion justifying, quote, the need to charge the resident for the culverts. The first opinion produced by administration, dated August 9th, 2017, was regarding the upgrading of landscape culverts, which has no relevance to this situation. The parish work referenced in this report consisted of installing new culverts and charging the parish price for materials. The second opinion, dated February 16th, 2018, mind you, approximately 8 months after the first install of phase 1 and 1 month after the second installation of phase 2, was an opinion referenced after this work was completed. It referenced an entirely different situation that had 20 feet of existing pipe, again, was produced after this job was completed. On April 16th, 2018, I asked again for follow-up information regarding this project, as well as any others or any on adjoining properties. The following day, I received a response via being copied on an email from the interim administrator to the interim finance director, directed me to to Public Works, and I could get all the information I'm requested in person. However, below that email was an email from the interim finance director noting the charge to the constituent for the previous work. The interim finance director responded with an email to the parish president and interim administrator opining about my expanding request and, quote, "This request requires me to send him information pertaining to the work performed by BPW on August 2017, which appears to be the first phase which we billed Mr. Ordorn $2,358.20. The reference in that line confirmed that work was performed previous to the Phase 2 in January 18 culvert installation from the information I found in Munis regarding the PO for the installation of culverts on Mia Drive earlier. Subsequently, on April the 12th, the interim administrator sent out an email to Mr. Barnes with others in administration copied that, quote, "A full repayment of funds received by Mr. Ordorn related to this drainage problem." On April the 12th, 2018, after all that I had reported earlier in this report, in the same email, it seems that the scope of both of these completed projects was changed as justification for both phases performed on this project as an in-house drainage project related to erosion. These were not landscape culverts, but part of the parish drainage servitude with serious erosion problems. I have enclosed copies of both check requests to refund all the funds paid by the constituent back to him. Right here are a few pictures of Phase 2 during the cutting of the ditch. This was after, and this is what it looked like, totally completed. In closing, I will read from the district attorney's opinion regarding the purchase of items from the parish. This opinion was by the district attorney, which means this question by the district attorney was issued a month after the resident was refunded all of his money and after the administration changed the scope of the project. And this was the third paragraph of the DA's opinion. Again, the DA's opinion was issued after all of this information that I've given y'all. The third paragraph reads, and it's a direct quote, "It is unknown why the administration sought payments in this particular instance and why the administration allowed the purchase of culverts through the parish and not through a culvert retailer. I recommend that the council request justification as to why a resident was charged for a parish project and why parish property, culverts, was sold to the resident at all, much less at a price less than market value." And that's it.
Okay, first let the record show that Councilman Lafont, I think, left for the evening at 8:25. He got choked up. All right, Councilman Bourgeois.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bagla, I appreciate your report. It's very thorough and in-depth. But, Mr. Chairman, I'm overly concerned that we violated Mr. Ordon's rights to privacy by publicly putting out his personal information. We put his name, we put his address, we put the routing number, we put his bank account number twice in a public forum. I mean, Mr. Ordon's gonna have to change his checking account information. I'm gonna ask that we get that redacted before it goes on air. And I'm gonna ask that it be redacted because I wouldn't want my checking account, my address, my routing number out there. I mean, when banks do that, they pay huge sums. And although I appreciate your report, Mr. Bagla, I'm gonna ask that anytime we have that information, it be redacted because I feel we've just done Mr. Ordon a huge, huge injustice that's gonna come back and bite us.
That's a good point.
Good point.
Anyone else? Mr. Melvin?
Well, that's a great point. I wish you'd have maybe mentioned it before.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else with Mr. Bagla? Mr. Bagla, are you done? All right, thank you. Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to, this is graduation season, and recognize that we've got, in District 5, we've got graduates graduating from Thibodeau High School, Central Lafourche High School, E.D. White, South Terrebonne, but I don't want to leave out South Lafourche High School, Nichols, and other people from Lafourche Parish graduating other schools, LSU, Texas, and my own daughter graduating Tulane. I'd just like to say congratulations to all graduates.
Congratulations to you, to all of the graduates. Mr. LaFont did mention that at the beginning of the meeting, but it's good to mention it again. Big accomplishment. Anything else? Since we're done, meeting adjourned at 8:30 p.m. Oh, can I get a move to adjourn? Bourgeois, second OTAN, now 8:30.